There's nothing here, Daniel. But you got one more subscriber. Oh, hey. That's some lag. Okay. Okay.
Alright.
Hello, and welcome to Boston C17 first annual
I don't think
NBA Draft pre-show.
I'm the only person watching.
Gotta wait, because I said the stream was supposed to be at 4:30, so people thought it was 4:30. We're gonna start off today. I'm here with my buddy Ben, Holden, and today we're gonna start off with each other's mock drafts. Who would like to go first?
All right.
Benji.
Keep going.
I got DeAndre Ayton going first. It's pretty obvious at this point. I mean, Suns have said multiple times that they're basically just gonna take it.
Oh,
What do
so do you
what
want to
do
go
have?
like through the picks? Okay. So, same at number one. The Suns are taking DeAndre Ayton. They've confirmed that.
I can't report right now. A little rumor that came out. So a rumor that was before, the Dallas Mavericks were trying to get up for the Atlanta Hawks number 3 pick, and according to Shams from Yahoo, the report is they have lost significant momentum in a deal revolving the number 3 pick. So for number 1, I have to go with them for DeAndre Ayton. It's already been reported he's going to go number 1. It fits because Booker and Ayton could be a 1-2, like Cat Kobe and Shaq. And I'm going to have a little stat for you. Ayton ended up putting up 20 points, 11 rebounds, and 2 assists. And from what I've seen, I've watched some highlights and stuff. I can compare him to Karl Anthony Towns and a little bit of Kevin Garnett. He has a jump shot, and he can pick and roll for you if you want to.
And I think he has a jump shot that a lot of people don't give him credit for. Like it's there. The problem that I see with Ayton is if you look up like DeAndre Ayton highlights on YouTube, a lot of the videos that you'll see is him playing against undersized centers, right? And of course he's dunking all over them and getting past them, but it's because they're undersized. I'll be curious to see if he can take these same moves that he's doing in college and apply them to an NBA size center.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty safe bet. I'm not sure if his ceiling is as high as some other guys, but he's really athletic, and it's a pretty safe bet.
He's the type of center you need in nowadays NBA. Of he can switch. He won't be the best defender, but he is athletic enough to switch onto a point guard.
I was gonna say that too.
Let's go on to number 2. Who did you take? The Suns. I mean the Kings taking.
So I have Bagley here at 2, because the Kings have expressed great interest in him. Seems like it's evident at this point that he's going to. Of course, the Kings are passing on some other guys like Doncic and Bamba. I'm not saying that Bagley is going to be a bust, but there are some other guys at this slot that I would have taken if I were the Kings, but they've expressed the most interest in Bagley, so that's where I think they're going.
There's a guy named Greg Powell who says, guys, I like the chance of the Celtics landing Dwight Howard. Do you have anything to say on that?
What's his name?
Greg Powell.
All right, Greg. I think it's up there because 2 free agents, free agencies ago, it was rumored to be Al Horford or Dwight Howard, and Dwight Howard decided to go home to Atlanta. Therefore, we stuck with Al Horford, which turned out great. I think Horford's going to take a minimum this year because he will have a buyout with the Nets, so he'll still get paid $20 million. So I can see him in a backup role for the Celtics. I don't think he'll start, but he could be in a backup role. So I say I'd say a 50-50 chance he's a Boston Celtic by day one of next year.
If he's this serious, as he said, about being on a winning team, then I think the Celtics are a great option. If he can, keep his head level and keep all of his emotions in check, and he signs for a cheap contract, I think the Celtics are a perfect option.
And if he wants to go to a contender, it's not going to get any better than the Boston Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you for that question. You can keep on asking him if you want. So who do you have going number 2 to the Sacramento Kings?
I agree. Marvin Bagley. And the same as DeAndre Ayton. The Kings have expressed a lot of interest in Marvin Bagley. And he's an offensive freak. Right? But the problem with that is he's not a defensive freak, right? And you've heard NBA analysts say this everywhere. And it'll be interesting to see in the NBA season if he can work on his defense enough to be worth anything.
I had Michael Porter Jr. going number 2 because leading up to the draft, I've heard some things that the Kings really liked his potential, but they were a little iffy, like every other team, on whether he'll be healthy or not. And I had him going number 2 because, in my opinion, if healthy, he's the best player in this draft, and he could easily, even if he's still hurt, he's still hurt, but I think he could be the best player in this draft. So I had him going number 2, but reports out from multiple outlets was that the Sacramento Kings are settled on picking Marvin Bagley Jr., which, if I'm a Marvin Bagley Jr., Marvin Bagley the third, and I can see where that goes. Bagley's a good player, but I don't think he's going to fit in modern day NBA, and I'd love to be wrong about that. But they have Zach Randolph, so he's going to, and he can't start. I see him as a power forward, so I think he'll come off the bench first year and learn from Randolph, which is a very good thing because Randolph is a pretty good NBA player, and I think he'll be an above average role player. I don't think he's going to be a star or an all-star anytime soon.
I agree.
Okay, number 3.
Number 3, who do you have the Hawks picking?
I have them taking Luka Doncic from Slovenia. The fact that Doncic is going to fall to 3 really leaves the Hawks with a no-brainer. I mean, he was the MVP of the EuroLeague, which is the second best league on the planet. He led Real Madrid to a championship. I mean, what more do you want? He's 6'8". He's really creative offensively, the ball, and I don't think the Hawks can pass on him at 3 if they keep the pick.
I agree with Ben completely. I'm sure that the Hawks are set on Doncic. For the same reasons. It's a no-brainer. You have a guy that can defend 3 if not 4 positions. You have a guy that can score from anywhere on the court. You have a guy that's fast. It's right. One could argue that there's a slight problem with turnovers, but that's easily fixable because he's young. I forget exactly how young. He's only 18 or 19.
I think he's 19.
Yeah, which, just with age, that can fix. So yeah, I have the Hawks taking Doncic.
I can report from Keith Smith of Celtics blog, Real GM, the Celtics look more likely to stay at pick 27, and they will, like I said on my Instagram post, they will most likely try to buy or acquire a second-round pick. I have Doncic going 3 because the thing about him is they say he makes everybody better. And it's true. He's a good player. I like to compare him to a shooting Ben Simmons. But if we're going to go way back, I think he's more of a Ricky Rubio type player. He won't give you the best, but he can shoot, and he's a tremendous passer. I think he has a very high ceiling in the NBA. I think he could probably make it as an all-star.
Yeah, he's not that athletic, but you do like his height combined with his playmaking abilities.
And that's something that's becoming increasingly common in this league, in the NBA. Everyone was freaking out about Lonzo Ball in the last NBA draft because he's a 6'7" point guard that can pass the ball, and we're seeing the same thing with this.
So Waj reported earlier that in fact the Hawks are intent on selecting Luka Doncic if they keep the pick, which I've also read. There is a talks between the Hawks and the Magic, and the Magic want to move up to select Luka Doncic, and the Magic, I think the Hawks are trying to get rid of Kent Bazemore's contract so they can move back just 3 picks, but also get rid of a very bad contract so they can rebuild. And I think their intent, if they move back, on selecting Trae Young. Number 4.
All right.
Do you have the Memphis Grizzlies picking?
Here's where it gets interesting, because the Grizzlies are left in an awkward position here, with the 3 guys we just mentioned off the board, because neither Mo Bamba nor Bamba told the team not to pick him, and then Jaren Jackson Jr. What? Jaren Jackson Jr. Did not submit his medical reports, so I actually think they'll pick Jackson here if they keep the pick, which it's a good possibility that they'll move it, because the guys after Jackson and Bamba, I think, are just in a lower tier. I think those 5 players are in a tier above the rest of the lottery, so I have them taking Jackson.
I will have to interrupt real quick, though. Mark Stein of New York Times has reported that the Mavericks and the Hawks are still talking, but Dallas is unwilling to trade number 5 and Wes Matthews for number 3 and Kent Bazemore. So they're paying $19.3 million to move up 2 spots in tonight's draft, and I don't think Dallas is willing to do that because Dallas wants to win now. And earlier today, they reported they feel very confident in acquiring DeMarcus Cousins. So that's something to keep an eye on. The Hawks may not stay at number 3.
And that's another thing that we'll talk about later is the Mavericks feeling confident about DeMarcus Cousins. And I'm not 100% sure on that. But back to the mock draft. At number 4, I have the Grizzlies taking Michael Porter Jr. This is something that hasn't been, like said across the media. It's not that popular of a pick. But I think the Grizzlies, like Daniel said earlier, it's a hit or miss pick. It's either Michael Porter is gonna be amazing, or he'll be a below average role player that we can point to his back problems for that. But I think that the Grizzlies are willing to make the pick of Michael Porter Jr.
And yesterday, Jonathan Givney, sorry if I got it wrong, of ESPN reported that there are 7 teams interested in trading with Memphis for the 4th pick. And if that trade were to occur, they want to include Chandler Parsons. So the 7 teams mentioned were the Mavericks, the Magic, the Bulls, the Knicks, the Nuggets, the Celtics, and the Clippers. I can see maybe the Clippers, if any of those teams would probably accept the rest. If they do keep their pick, I had them taking Marvin Bagley because I think he fits what the Grizzlies try to run. They're not always pick and pop. They aren't fast paced. They want to score. They slow down the game. Their grit and grind attitude. So I had him going there so they could slow down the offense. He put up 21 points per game and 11 rebounds, and I have him compared to Amari Stoudemire as an NBA star. Number 5, who do you have? The Orlando Magic, if they keep the pick, selected.
Magic at 5.
The Mavericks. My mistake.
Okay. So I have Mo Bamba going here. I think he's a great prospect to get at number 5. He's going to have the longest wingspan as soon as he comes into the NBA. Longest wingspan in the league. Great shot blocker. Think Rudy Gobert, but with an improving shot. I think he has one of the highest ceilings in this draft.
Because I had Michael Porter Jr. going to the Grizzlies, I have Jaren Jackson Jr. going to the Mavs. This will be an interesting move if the Mavs are hell bent on getting DeMarcus Cousins. It wouldn't really make sense to have Jaren Jackson Jr. But if they don't get Cousins, they have Jaren Jackson Jr., who's physically insane. He's athletic, and defensively he's amazing. Right? He does have kind of an awkward shooting form, and we'll see how that works out in the upcoming season. But I feel like that's a solid pick for the Mavericks.
I forgot to add that Waj did report that number 4, the Grizzlies are intent on taking Jaren Jackson if they do keep the pick. Number 5, I had them taking Jaren Jackson Jr. as well. I see his game compared to Serge Ibaka, sort of. I don't see him striving in the NBA. I heard the Suns worked him out, and the teams were really impressed with his workout. But I don't see how he could potentially fit in modern day NBA. I don't watch a lot of college basketball, but from what I've seen, he doesn't seem like he could fit. But I could be totally wrong about that. Number 6, Orlando Magic. Who do you have them taking?
I have them taking Cale Bridges out of Villanova. Where the Magic are, they just gotta select the best available prospect, and Bridges is a well-rounded forward, wing player, good athlete, and I think he's the best on the board for them at 6.
I think for the Magic, I think they need a franchise player. It can't be Vucevic. Aaron Gordon hasn't proved to be like a franchise player yet, so I think they do a hit or miss pick too with Trae Young. I think we've seen before he set the first half of his college season, everyone was calling him Steph Curry. And he's just a pure raw prospect who, if he can get that consistency down, he'll be an amazing NBA player, right? Slightly undersized, and as I said before, he's not that efficient, but he's a guy who needs the ball to do well, and I think the Magic are willing to do that for him.
And I forgot to say again, the Mavericks, according to Waj, are supposed to take Mo Bamba with the 5th selection. Number 6, I have Mo Bamba going to the Magic based on the fact, like he said, sort of, they finally figured out Vucevic is not the franchise center they want him to be. He's a very good player. He can arguably be an all-star. He puts up 19 and 10 a game, sort of.
Yeah, he's a good player.
But I think Bamba has a bigger ceiling than he does. And the draft's about to start in a couple minutes, so I'm going to go a little off topic real quick just to make a little couple things. One question. Is Kawhi Leonard a Spur by the end of the night?
Ooh, by the end of the night? I'm not...
I say more likely than not that he is a Spur by the end of the night.
I feel like... Well, that's a tough question. Because it'd be interesting to see if the Spurs will trade Kawhi Leonard for a draft pick. But I think the safer bet is that he'll stay a Clipper, and that a Spur, just kidding. That Kawhi Leonard will stay a Spur until free agency starts.
I say he's a Spur until I'd say about mid-July. I think they're gonna get a feel out of what's happening, and maybe I've been convinced that he's gonna stay with the Spurs, but we'll get into that a lot later. But to answer it, no, I think he'll be a Spur by the end of the night. And one more, since the draft is about to start. What's your one crazy prediction of what will happen tonight?
So funny enough, my crazy prediction that I had planned out for the day has to do with Kawhi Leonard, and it has to do with trading up in the with the Spurs getting a pick. I have that Fultz is trading to the Spurs along with the 76ers picks for Kawhi Leonard.
So tonight?
Tonight.
Let's see. I think around 15 to 40, we're going to see a lot of players going 10 spots above or below their projected, their big board projection, because it's really tight, and a lot of teams, in the late lottery, a lot of those are the better teams. I mean, the late first round, those are the better teams, and they want to fill roles instead of, just taking the best overall.
Right, or getting a franchise player.
Yeah.
All right. The ESPN coverage of the NBA draft is just about to begin. We left off at number 6, so let's go number 7. Who do you have the Chicago Bulls taking with the 7th pick?
I have them taking Trae Young. I know they like Chris Dunn, but I think I don't think he's the franchise player that they could be.
What?
He led the nation in points and assists, so the fact that he's still available at 7, I mean, a little bit of a risk with Young, but I think the Bulls will take him, or somebody could move up into that 7th spot, seeing that he's still available and make a trade.
And also keep in mind, we have a little thing to get this show through. But if you guys have a question, feel free to ask. If you have a statement and you want us to judge it, be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to ask. We're here, all for a couple minutes. All right, who do you got? Bulls taking number 7.
See, I'm a huge Bulls fan, and personally, I have problems with the Bulls taking Trae Young because we have Chris Dunn, and he's proved that he can be a solid player. And I have problems with Michael Porter Jr. just because he's a hit or miss player. And in my mock draft, Mo Bamba is still on the board, so the Bulls are going to take him. As people have said, he's in his per 40-minute stats for college. He averaged 5 blocks a game, and we've all heard about his massive frame, which proves that which he uses on the defensive end and in rebounding. From what I've heard, other analysts say they say that he needs to show more intensity throughout the games, if that's even a concern. If Mo Bamba slips that far, it's an amazing pick for the Bulls, and the future is bright.
I have them taking Trae Young as well. He's been linked to the Bulls for a while, and there were reports earlier in the summer that the Bulls hated the way he worked out. They thought he was lazy. The Chris Dunn, this is. So I think they take Trae Young because I think they can see him as a franchise-altering point guard. The Bulls are not going to be in rebuild for a long time. I can tell you that right now. They got a bunch of caps. They have about like $44 million in cap for this summer, so they might go out. They got to re-sign Zach LaVine, and they got to do some other stuff. But I can see them being a little aggressive this summer, being a little shocking team for teams that like need to prove themselves, for players that need to prove themselves. So I have Trae Young being there because he's a great passer. People talk about his scoring, but he is a great passer. He ended up putting up, let me tell you, he put up 8.7 assists a game, and in college, that's a lot. And
well, and including that, that's also in the latter half of the season where he wasn't doing that well, and still at that level, he's averaging almost 9 assists per game. I think there's something to be said about that.
And I don't know if y'all are Trae Young fans, but I've done comparisons to NBA players for everyone, and for this one, people say Steph Curry. I have him as Jimmer Fredette. I will get to this later, but I think he will be a bust. He'll be he won't be as good as he's hyped up to be.
I don't think Curry, but
Right.
yeah.
Well, I can kind of see it too. If Jimmer Fredette could pass, I can kind of see Trae Young.
8th pick. Who do you think the Cavs are taking if they have the pick?
I have Michael Porter Jr. going at 8. He's, to me, the biggest boomer bust in this draft just because we haven't seen him play in college. He played 3 games for Missouri, didn't do anything spectacular that jumped out of the screen, only averaged 10 points. So he's really a wild card, but I think he has that boom side of the boom or bust potential that the Cavs might want to, as we've all heard, entice LeBron to stay, and that would be a route they go. Or, of course, trading a pick. So, I have Porter.
Yeah, and the Cavs had said that they'd be happy if Michael Porter Jr. slips that far. But I had Michael Porter Jr. going further, and I think what the Cavs need right now is a solid point guard. And I have them picking Colin Sexton. He's an amazing driver, and in transition, this guy is an absolute monster. He plays with like this mass amounts of intensity, and I don't normally like making comparisons between draft prospects and NBA players, but Colin Sexton looks like a prototype Russell Westbrook. Just the way that he drives to the basket and he plays with such an intensity. Of course, he needs to get a better jump shot, and he can't turn over the ball as much as he had in college. But these things can easily be fixed, and I think that he'll do good things for the Cavs.
I have the Cavs taking Wendell Carter Jr. because there are rumors that he the Cavs are looking to trade Kevin Love. They offered Kevin Love in the 8th pick for Kawhi Leonard, which I think the Spurs would be the dumbest franchise in history to accept that trade. But if LeBron's gone, Kevin Love, regardless of what they said, he's gone. He's not a building block. He's further in his career. I think he is done putting up 20-20 games now. I think he's just he'll put up 20-10, but not an average. He'll get on occasional night. So Wendell Carter Jr. has been compared to Al Horford. He can stretch the floor, and he can run the thing for you. Last year, he put up 13 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 assists. 2 assists may sound like it's nothing, but it is a lot for college. But personally, I don't think the Cavs make a pick tonight. I told my buddy Ben earlier, I think Kemba Walker is a Cleveland Cavalier by the end of tonight. So number 9, the one that's going to get a lot of social media stuff, everyone's going to roast them. Who are the New York Knicks picking?
I have them taking Colin Sexton. They actually they have a lot of point guards on their roster, but what would be more like the Knicks than to just take another one at this point? But no, they don't have a great point guard. They refuse to play Ntilikina for some reason, so they clearly don't think he's the answer. I think they're gonna keep searching. I think there's a chance they move up to get Trae Young, or if he slips to them, they take him. But I have them taking Sexton out of Alabama.
Draft just started 22 minutes.
I have kind of an odd pick for the Knicks. I have them taking Miles Bridges.
Before you continue, there is a report saying the Knicks are between Kevin Knox and Miles Bridges for the 9th pick, so it's not that odd.
It's not that odd. But in recent reports, the Knicks have said that they really like Kevin Knox. I think that Miles Bridges would be a great fit for the Knicks. Seeing him and Porzingis and what they might accomplish, that sounds amazing.
And they'll need a Courtney Lee replacement. He's getting up there in age, and he's going to have to go.
Mhm.
So Miles Bridges could have that potential.
He's got a good frame. He's a good rebounder. Might need to work on his shooting, like most of the people in the draft, but I feel like he could be a solid pick.
In my opinion, like I just spoiled it though, they said it's between Kevin Knox and Miles Bridges. I don't understand this. I think Mikal, whatever Bridges, is better than Miles Bridges. He puts up 17.7 points per game, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists, and I have him compared to the likes of Otto Porter.
I've seen that.
I think they need a small forward. They don't have a small forward. Who do they have? They like Lance Thomas. They had Doug McDermott. That didn't go as well as they thought it would. They don't have a small forward, so I think Mikal Bridges would be the place to go for this pick. Number 10, the one that's very interesting, a team that was in the conference semifinals has a lottery pick. The Philadelphia 76ers. Who do they take with the number 10 pick?
I have them taking Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Does anyone know how to say that name?
I have no idea.
Is it Gilgeous?
I'm glad he said it before I
That's
did.
my best guess.
I'm glad he said it before.
If anyone who's watching knows how to say that, please let us know.
I think, Markelle Fultz is shaky at best right now over whether he'll produce for them next season, so they could use a backup point guard to develop. It's entirely possible, though, like a lot of teams in the lottery, that they'll use this pick as trade bait, because there's a lot of moving and shaking going on right now. So, but I haven't taken Gilgeous-Alexander.
I hate to interrupt, but on that sort of topic about Alexander, I heard he was linked to the Raptors. The Raptors would like to trade up to get him.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
I never said my crazy prediction for the night. My crazy prediction is DeMar DeRozan is not a Raptor by the end of tonight. DeMar DeRozan or Kyle Lowry. I think DeRozan will get traded for the 4th pick, Chandler Parsons, and Dylan Brooks. And the Grizzlies are known not to want to rebuild. They want to get fast. They'll get a healthy Mike Conley. They'll get a healthy Marc Gasol. They'll be fine next year. So if they get DeRozan, plus if they trade back, I don't know if they'll get the pick back or something. they could be something to mess with next year. So I'm sorry to interrupt you. You can keep it going.
Well, no, I think there's something to be said about that because I don't. If the Raptors are going to get rid of Lowry and DeRozan, that means that they're going to be in full rebuild mode, and I don't think they want to do that. Sure they got like stomped over by the Cavs, but they were the first seed in the East. They have a chance to be very competitive, and I don't think getting rid of DeRozan and getting a high draft pick is the right move.
It is reported though that no one on their team is untouchable. Everyone could go for the right offer.
I agree that they shouldn't rebuild, but they already fired Dwayne Casey, so I think that's a pretty
I
good
think
sign.
that was a sign saying, you know
that-
what, this team's not gonna ever make it past LeBron. So
We gotta blow it up.
Maybe.
So, number 10, who do you have? The 76ers.
I have the 76ers taking, and I need help on saying this too. Is it Zaire Smith?
Zaire Smith?
Zaire Smith?
Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Some of you people watching might think that that's extremely high. But this guy is an explosive player, and I hope that the 76ers can see that too, and they'll pick him up. In my opinion, they need a shooting guard, just in case JJ Redick doesn't come back during free agency, and I feel like Zaire Smith can fill that role. He's not a pure shooter, but he can. He's amazing on defense. He has this explosiveness on defense that translates to offense, and he's one of the best shot blocking guards I've ever seen in college. He needs to work on his ball handling, and that's without a doubt. But that's a good pick.
I have the 76ers picking Lonnie Walker the 4th. I have him compared to Tim Hardaway Jr. as a NBA player. Like he said, Redick could go, but I also think he could stay because he knows he's a good fit in Philly. But if he does go, they need a backup shooting. Even if he stays, they need a shooting guard. So I can see them taking Lonnie Walker, who put up 11 points per game last year, in a little tiny role, but he is a projected lottery pick. I can see the 76ers selecting him. 11th overall is the Charlotte Hornets. Who are they selecting?
I have, like Holden said, this is pretty high as well, but I also have Zaire Smith going 11th to the Hornets. Like you said, he needs to work on his ball handling, his attacking off the dribble, but he's a good set shooter. He's a good catch and shoot guy, even though he might not be the best shooter in this draft. He's got a chance to be. He's one of the most explosive athletes in the draft.
He's extremely underrated.
Great dunker, and I think the Hornets will take him at 11.
The Hornets, Wendell Carter Jr. hasn't been selected yet on my mock draft, and I think the Hornets are gonna take him. This guy is exactly everything you want from a stretch 5. He's comfortable anywhere on the floor, whether his back's to the basket or he's shooting a 3-pointer. He's a good rebounder, a good shot blocker. He's kind of bigger, so he can only guard the post. If you switch him onto a smaller player, bad things could happen. But I think his offense there's something to be said about that, and I think the Hornets are going to see that and pick him up.
Yeah, I have Carter Jr. going even later, but I think that's just a consequence of slipping due to team needs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. It's not that Carter Jr. is a bad player. And you also have to look at too, like he played behind Marvin Bagley this entire year, and some might argue that he took like a lesser role. If Marvin Bagley wasn't on Duke this year, Wendell Carter's numbers might have been way higher. Who's to say?
Yeah, and I also think it's difficult to put him that close to Bagley, just because. I mean, even though people say like, oh, he was overshadowed by Bagley. I mean, Bagley was clearly the star on that team.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like I just find it awkward to have them going like 5 and 6 or something like that right next to each other when Bagley was clearly the star at Duke.
Right.
So that's kind of why I have him so low, but he could turn out to be a great center.
I've seen a lot of mock drafts having him going like 5 or 6 ahead of Jaren Jackson Jr., even sometimes ahead of Mo Bamba. I don't quite see that. But I do think he'll be a solid pickup for the Hornets. Who do you have for the 11th pick?
I have. It's a bit of a shocker. I have Robert Williams of Texas A&M coming over here. He's rumored to, a lot of teams have liked him. I think I compared him to Marquise Chris of the Phoenix Suns currently, who hasn't reached his full potential, but he's the stretch 4. He's very athletic, and that's what you need to be in this league. We said multiple times. So I have him going number 11 to the Hornets. And this, I'm going to have you guys name 2 in a row, because since they have 2 picks in a row. The Los Angeles Clippers, who are they using their 2 picks on?
Okay, I have Miles Bridges and Wendell Carter Jr. I think that DeAndre Jordan, I personally think that he's going to leave. We'll talk about that later. But they'll need to fill
Who do you have?
Miles Bridges and Wendell Carter Jr. I think they'll need to fill a hole at center. And they've been trying to get a small forward for so long. They finally, we thought they hit it on Gallinari, and then he gets injured. So next crack at it could be Miles Bridges out of Michigan State.
Adrian Wojnarowski has reported, though, Jaren Jackson Jr., as he said earlier, was not willing to give up his stuff. He didn't want to go to the Memphis Grizzlies, but he has grown comfortable with the Grizzlies drafting with the 4th pick. And they say J.D. Bickerstaff, the head coach of the Memphis Grizzlies, sold him on being a Memphis Grizzly in the future. So if they do take the pick, most likely to be Jaren Jackson Jr. Clippers.
Well, back to what Ben said. I think that Wendell Carter Jr. could play the 4, and if DeAndre Jordan does end up staying, if we go with Ben's mock draft, you have Miles Bridges, Wendell Carter Jr., and DeAndre Jordan. That's an amazing front court. Personally, I have the Clippers taking Shea, middle name Alexander, and Michael Bridges. They could use a solid shooter in Michael Bridges, and they could use a backup point guard to back up Patrick Beverly, and I feel like Alexander, that's what I'm gonna call him. I feel like he can do that.
I have Colin Sexton and Miles Bridges going to there. They lost a good shooting guard last year in J.J. Redick, and they needed, and they can get one from Miles Bridges. And I have him compared to Jay Crowder as a 3. He's named as a very, very, very good 3-and-D player, one of the best in the draft. And Colin Sexton, they want a point guard. They really want a point guard, and I think Colin Sexton, they're rumored to try to move up to get Luka Doncic for their point guard, but I think Colin Sexton could perfectly fit the point guard for, and I have him compared to Eric Bledsoe. And here we go. Last pick belongs to the Denver Nuggets. Who are they spending it
on? I have them taking Lonnie Walker IV out of Miami. He's described himself as creative and different, and I think he is a unique prospect. I think the Nuggets could use another playmaking wing, and I think they'll take Walker at 14.
Originally I had Walker going to the Nuggets as well, but I had him slipping out of the lottery simply because he lacks his confidence as a shooter, which I think is what he wants to be in the NBA. And you can see that in these shooting droughts that he had in college. So I think the safer pick for the Nuggets is going to be Kevin Knox. I don't want to jump on a bandwagon, but this is one of my favorite prospects in the draft. Similar to Zaire Smith, is an explosive player. It can score from anywhere on the floor, and he's got a solid frame to go with that. Taller than most of the people at his size, so he can just rise up and shoot over them. His defense is an issue and his passing is an issue, but I think with the right veteran coach, that can easily be fixed, and he could end up being a solid player in the NBA.
I have Kevin Knox knocking all the way down to the 14th slot to the Denver Nuggets. That's the ideal scenario for them. They have Will Barton. They don't have Will. They have Gary Harris, which is probably the shooting guard of the future, and Will Barton's a free agent. and they need a backup shooting guard. So I think they take Kevin Knox because he's a knockdown shooter. I haven't compared it to Tobias Harris, maybe not as big, but I think he can be the knockdown shooter they need in case somehow, some way Gary Harris goes. I think he can take over that. So thank you for joining us during our mock draft, but that's just the first segment of this very long live stream. The next one
Still
is
5 more pages.
sleeper of the draft. Who do you got?
I have Landry Shamet out of Wichita State. He has a chance to be the best shooter in the draft. His he's projected as a late first round, maybe early second round pick, but I mean, he led Wichita State into, I think it was a 3 seed.
3 or 4 seed, yeah.
Yeah, in the tournament, and he's just a great shooter, and a lot of teams can find room for that. And in that tier, maybe the late first round, you know, he could go to a really good team, maybe a contender, and right off the bat fill a role as a shooter, you know,
Maybe.
and then to get better going forward. So he is my sleeper.
Well, I have 2 sleepers in the draft. I couldn't decide on one. The first is Javon Carter from West Virginia University. This guy, we talk about Mo Bamba and how he averaged 4 blocks a game for Texas, but what we don't talk about is how Javon Carter averaged 4 steals a game for West Virginia. This guy, a lot of people have compared him to Patrick Beverly, simply because he's a defense. That is his game. It's defense turning into offense, and that's how he got the majority of his points. I think I always have a special place in my heart for people in the NBA who are solely defense, and it'll be exciting to see if Javon Carter can keep that up. My second sleeper is Jalen Brunson from Villanova. He's everything you want in a point guard too. He can pass, he can shoot, he can play defense. You're getting a solid, safe pick, and I don't know why more teams aren't. I don't know why he isn't being drafted higher.
Now, I did a thing the other day on Instagram of who you would take at 27. I also made a poll. I asked, would you be mad if the Celtics took Grayson Allen? Everyone told me they would cry. They would hate him. They hate him. There's no way. I have him as the sleeper of the draft. He put up 15 points per game last year, but he always gets talked about for his antics on the court, tripping people, his attitude, which is a big part of the game. But look at DeMarcus Cousins. He gets angry, he gets technical fouls, but he's one of the best players in the game. I'm not saying Grayson Allen's going to be the best player of all time, or maybe even an all-star, but he could be a good backup point guard. I would like the Celtics to take him because he has that grit that if they don't get Marcus Smart, he can easily replace them. But I think Grayson Allen's very slept on based on what he does on and off the court, being a child and all. There's always one every year. Who is going to be the biggest bust of this draft?
I have Michael Porter Jr., like I said, just simply because we haven't seen him since high school perform. And he's got not just one, but 2 injuries that have kept him from, I think the back and the hip, kept him from working out with teams, and obviously missing most of his freshman year at Missouri. I mean, a lot of people are saying this reminds them of Greg Oden in, I think, 2012. Just a prospect with great potential that just got hurt his whole career.
I have a couple busts of the draft. Michael Porter Jr. was already mentioned. The first one I have is Robert Williams. He just seems like there's nothing there. There's nothing there as a prospect to like make him special, and there's nothing there that tells me that he's gonna thrive or do well in the NBA. And that's why I didn't have him going in the lottery in my mock draft. But as in Daniel's, it's very likely that he will, but I don't think he'll perform well. My other one is Shea Alexander. He's really small, and I feel like he's going to get bullied, especially in his first couple seasons in the NBA. Yeah, those are my 2 busts.
I have one, and you already heard it earlier. I have Trae Young. Like I said, I think he needs to be Jimmy Fredette 2.0. He can shoot, he can pass, but he's too small. I think he doesn't have muscle. He's not like Isaiah Thomas has the argument of he's small, he's not big or anything. But I think Trae Young is too reliable on his shooting. Isaiah can attack the rim and stuff, and he could do all that. Trae Young's more of like I have to shoot a three kind of player.
I think the one difference though between Young and Fredette is that Young is a better shooter. He has a quicker release, and he's more likely to make shots on the move than Fredette. So I think that's what separates him.
Right, there's a little bit more dynamic.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning into our NBA draft part of it. But now we get to go on to free agency / trades. First, let's go to trades that could go down tonight. What do you got?
Okay, so I've got a few here. And there's been new reports that are probably more likely, but I have one suggested one. The Raptors, between the Raptors and the Cavs, because the Raptors have been trying to move Lowry, and we know the Cavs want to get another star to attract LeBron James. So I have the Raptors getting the number 8 pick and Larry Nance Jr.
Oh.
For Kyle Lowry.
I'm sorry, for those of you who are watching the NBA draft right now, Trae Young's wearing shorts, and I think that that's awful. Anyway.
I saw that too. I think that could happen. I think getting Lowry would show to them, like, LeBron, we're serious. We're sorry for messing up your roster last year. Lowry's a proven point guard who can put up a triple-double. He's an all-star. And Larry Nance, they have to re-sign him next year. I don't think they're willing to pay him the money he's probably going to ask for in the 8th pick. I think there's no way. I think, especially because he's getting paid like $30 million, Lowry. I don't think there's any way the Raptors say no. I don't know about the Cavs, but I saw that trade happening too.
She went off.
My draft night trade. I have a pick swap between the Hawks and the Wizards. The Hawks get the 15th pick, and the Wizards get the 19th and the 30th pick. When I was going through my mock draft, I went on a little bit from the lottery, and I got to the Wizards, and I think another prediction. I think that Wall's going to stay in. I think that Wall and Beal are both going to stay in Washington, and all the best players that are left on the board are shooting guards, and there's no one that the Wizards can really take. So I think that it makes sense to trade down in the draft. Maybe even get a role player thrown in there with their trade.
I have a couple. I did this thing like 2 weeks ago. This is before all these rumors came out. That's why some of them are really off, and some of them are like, okay. I have the Grizzlies trading with the Clippers, so the Clippers can get Luka Doncic. So I don't have the exact trade, but the Grizzlies would trade the 4th pick. And I said this earlier about the Clippers probably be the only team to do it. The Clippers would trade the 12th and 13th pick for Chandler Parsons and the 4th pick so they can draft Luka Doncic. They really want Luka Doncic. I can see that happening. Another small one, very small one, which I reported earlier. I could easily see the Celtics trading into the 2nd round by just buying a pick, which is what the Warriors did last year with the Bulls, and they got Jordan Bell. And we all know how that turned out for the Warriors. I also have a very interesting one, which I'm hearing now is probably not going to happen. I have the Celtics trading Terry Rozier and the 27th pick to the Magic for the 6th pick so they can select Mohamed Bamba.
I've got another little one. Like I hinted at this earlier, but the Knicks, they want to move on from Ntilikina. So I have the Bulls. If the Bulls feel like they could take someone a little lower that's still going to be on their board, I have them switching picks with the Knicks, the 7th and 9th pick. So the Bulls would be at number 9, and the Knicks would be at number 7, and the Bulls picking up Ntilikina. They might not want to do that, but the Knicks haven't really given Ntilikina a chance, and he was a lottery pick, so I think the Bulls could take a chance on him.
And as a Bulls fan, resource.
A developing story that is occurring. Michael Porter's agent, this is from Adrian Wojnarowski at ESPN, Mark Billison, is delivering more detailed and recent medical info to lottery teams on Porter's back. Believes he's given executive more reason to feel comfortable in long-term prognosis. Recent medical report circulated among teams caused major concern. And the Clippers and Nuggets are preparing that Michael Porter Jr. could drop to them. So this shows that teams are scared of Porter. They think
it's a huge
he's
risk.
done.
Yeah.
So if he's dropping all the way to 12, at the beginning of the college season before he got hurt, he was projected to be number 1 without a question. And now he's projected to go. He could even fall out of the lottery.
That's insane.
Right, that's because right, if the Clippers are interested, that's the 12th or 13th pick. Jesus.
It's a
Yeah.
very something. It's something you should keep an eye on. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
You were saying.
Yeah, I was done with that.
Oh, as a Bulls fan, if we traded down in the draft, I'd have no problem because I think that Mikal Bridges would still be on the board, and I feel like again that's a perfect fit for the Bulls system, so I'd have no problem with that. I don't have any other draft night trades, but I do think that the Clippers could get out of their 12th and 13th pick to move up in the draft. It's complete.
Adam Silver is at the podium right now, about to announce that the Phoenix Suns are on the clock. We will play when they announce the draft pick. Besides that, we're going to be just us talking. We'll stop talking when they announce draft picks, and I will interrupt sometimes if a trade does go down or if something develops. Continue.
Yeah, I don't have any other draft night trades. I'm sure, like what happened last year, I'm sure a few championship contending teams will buy some second round picks to get a few more role players, so they don't have to sign a free agent for the minimum. Yeah.
The Kings could be a big player tonight. We've heard they want an established star, and they obviously have a number 2 pick as an asset. That could happen tonight. Also, someone might, if Doncic falls to 3, which he likely will at this point, somebody may want to make a trade with the Hawks for that number 3 pick. So those are.
That is a very high topic right now. Everyone wants Doncic. They believe in him. And the funny thing is, they said the Suns and Kings do not believe in him, but the other teams that are below, the Hawks and everything, they want Doncic. So the Hawks are just dangling that pick. They want that pick and Kent Bazemore's terrible contract off the books. Same with the Grizzlies. So that's something to keep an eye on as well. I think the Grizzlies or Hawks will move out of their spots by the end of the night.
Yeah, that's completely possible. So do we go on to free agency while this is going on?
This is going to be a very long topic. As you already know, you may not have heard, LeBron James is a free agent this year. And we're going to give descriptions of each team that's been linked to him and why he would and wouldn't fit. But we're just going to do a simple question first. And right now he just announced the Phoenix Suns are on the clock, and according to my league sources, the Suns officially have told the league that they're going to select DeAndre Ayton. Shocker, I know, but just got to let you know. Where's LeBron going?
I think it's anybody's game, but I have as the most likely team to land him, the Philadelphia 76ers.
I disagree completely with that pick.
100%.
But what's your reasoning?
I think he's staying east. He doesn't want to compete with the Warriors in the West. You've got the Celtics and the Sixers as the most likely contenders, and I mean, he might not want to rejoin Kyrie. Sure, they could make it work, but I just think the Sixers are the easiest choice for him if he wants to win, and he wants to stay in the East. So that's where I think he's going.
I thought about this, and I realized LeBron wants to win. He said that. Going to the West, he won't win. Goes with the Rockets, it could be a competitive series, but I don't think they'll win. But then you look at the East and the cap space scenarios. Indiana can offer him a good deal. Sixers can move something. They got to move Jared Bayless in order for a deal to occur.
Yeah.
So most of them, it's gonna have to be a sign and trade. It's gonna have to be a sign and trade. If he goes to Boston, if he goes to the Rock. If he goes to the Rock, it has to be signed
Oh.
and trade. A lot of them has to be signed and trades. I do see him going east, but I don't know where. I don't think he goes to Philly for the sole fact I don't see him fitting in the offense. Simmons needs the ball, and B needs the ball.
I agree with that.
LeBron is not a spot-up shooter. Simmons is definitely not a spot-up shooter. Embiid is a very dominant big man. He needs the paint, but LeBron needs the paint. Simmons definitely needs the paint. I don't see how that could possibly work out.
I agree that it might not be the best fit, but that's not always the motivation in free agency. It's not. I mean, we've heard that before about guys needing the ball and then it's worked out, like Paul and Harden. Oh, we thought that would never work. I think LeBron could make it work. I mean, he's an intellectual guy that might have, crossed his mind, but I think he could work it out with Philadelphia. And just the fact that their stars are so young. I mean, Simmons, he could develop a jump shot. Their stars are still developing, and so that could put him on track to stay with that organization for a few years.
Because it is also reported he did say he wants to play off ball. He doesn't want to be like when he was in Cleveland. He has to be the person to win the games. So like if he does go to Houston, he can just like, you know what, I'm gonna chillax, let James Harden and Chris Paul finish this for me. In Cleveland, he had to have the ball. I don't see there's any chance unless Cleveland presents him a great team that there's no way he gets some. If they somehow get Kawhi and Kemba Walker, that's very appealing. I mean, it's very. Who do you have him going to?
See, I jumped on the bandwagon for a bit, and I had LeBron going to the Lakers. But I have a reason for this. It's either the Lakers or the Clippers, and I don't think the Clippers are much of an option. It's the Lakers because LeBron James Jr. has signed with a Southern California school. I forget the exact name of the school.
Was that
Sierra
confirmed?
Canyon.
It was confirmed.
It is confirmed. And it doesn't. I mean, unless LeBron's willing to be across the country away from his son, it makes sense that he'll go to a Los Angeles team. So I have Lakers or Clippers. For all the Celtics fans, I don't think he's becoming a Boston Celtic. The entire reason that Kyrie left Cleveland in the first place
I hate
was
to interrupt you, but Adam Silver is going to the podium right now to announce the first overall pick.
With the first pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Phoenix Suns select DeAndre Ayton from the University of Arizona.
So it's now official. DeAndre Ayton is a Phoenix Sun. Initial reactions. What do you expect?
That's what we
Yeah.
Oh, from
Oh,
it was always expected that Ayton was going to go to the Suns. I really hope he shines. I really hope that he makes a name for himself and he doesn't become like all the other
He's
centers.
a confident person. And normally when I see confident people, I'm like, oh, I hope they suffer. I hope they do terrible. I'm rooting for him. Because people are saying he's too confident. Which I think in the NBA, you gotta be too confident in order to succeed now. LeBron, he knows he's the best. He tells himself he's the best player in the world instead of being humble about it. And look what happens. He's one of the best players in the world. I really think Booker and Ayton is Kobe and Shaq 2.0, in my opinion. I really think that's what's gonna happen.
You got to look at it this way. You have Devin Booker at shooting guard. You have Josh Jackson at power or at small forward, excuse me, and you have DeAndre Ayton at center. Right, that in itself is insane. And if the Suns can manage to get another star on their team, a point guard or a power forward, yeah, they're gonna be a legitimate contender in the West. Right?
eventually.
If DeAndre Ayton can play up to his capabilities and Booker, Josh Jackson comes into his own, and Booker keeps doing what Booker's doing, they could be legitimate contenders.
Just received word that the Sacramento Kings are about to make their official pick. And shocker, it's Marvin Bagley III. So let's go back to LeBron. Where do you have him going? The Lakers?
Lakers or the Clippers. Because I I don't think that there's a team in the East that he can fit within their system. And I don't think he goes to the Rockets because he's did Kevin Durant for going to a super team. He'd be doing the same thing. It doesn't make sense that he'd go to the Rockets, and I think he still wants to be the star of a team. If he goes to LA, the endorsement money is going to get bigger. Los Angeles has all the cap space. I feel like it's the right move for him.
I had the Lakers and Cleveland right there behind Philadelphia as the second most option. I mean, I've said he's probably going east, but with all the rumors, I feel like the Lakers are a possibility. With the news that his son is committed to a school out there, I think the Lakers are the second likeliest option for me.
What it does is like he said, it helps his brand. He's in Los Angeles, and at the same time, it also helps his afterlife with the NBA. He wants to be an actor. He's been in some movies, and LA is obviously the perfect place to start acting.
It's like Shaq acting. It's not what you want. I don't want to see LeBron James in a
What
movie.
he wants to do. So that's that. So let me go first. I'm going to go first since I'm boss of C17. Let's go arguments for each team. Let's go first with the Celtics. Now, the Celtics, okay, I guarantee you're going to hear almost every team linked. I've heard the Knicks, I've heard the Celtics, I've heard the Nuggets, I've heard like all the terrible teams, all the good teams linked to him. And I heard the Celtics, and I heard Chris Haynes of ESPN reported that it's an actual chance that Boston could get him. But in order for that to happen, I hate to be that guy. If you guys are a Celtics fan, you're like, oh, let's get LeBron. We would have to trade Hayward, Horford, or Irving. And one would say, I would trade Hayward in a heartbeat for LeBron. And I'm going to go against that for the sole fact he played 5 minutes. He gave up all he had in Utah to go to Boston. And you're going to give him 5 minutes and then trade him.
I agree. It's a shitty move by Boston. if
No
that happens.
free agent would want to go there anymore. They'll be like, okay, they saw what they did Isaiah. You're hurt. You're gone. Okay, how about Hayward? Oh, he's hurt. He's gone. So, and I don't think they trade Al Horford because Al Horford is their team.
Well, to be fair, I think Isaiah Thomas was traded and then he got injured.
He was injured before.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, and
Hold on. We have breaking news occurring right now. The Dallas Mavericks are closing in on a trade for Luka Doncic with the number
Adam Silver's at the podium.
3 overall pick. And the
That's
Kings
interesting.
are on the clock.
The Sacramento Kings select Marvin
Marvin
Bagley
Bagley.
III.
Marvin Bagley, the third,
That's a glittery suit.
going to the Sacramento Kings. But normally I'll ask for your reaction to this. Doncic to the Mavericks. What do you think?
I think he'll fit in. I think that's a good pick, especially if the Mavericks want to win now. I feel like Doncic's the perfect option.
It depends on the details, but initially, great move by Dallas.
That's true. It does depend who won. Here it is. They'll trade the 3 and 5 picks, sending Luka Doncic. So, this is what's happening. The Atlanta Hawks are going to acquire Trae Young, who will be selected with the number 5 pick, and a future first for Luka Doncic. Too much, too little, perfect trade.
The Hawks are getting Trae Young.
Yeah.
Then that means that they're through with
And
Dennis.
there's no players involved, just those two.
Then-
Doncic for Young.
Then that means Dennis Schroeder's gone. He's getting
He
traded
wants
to.
out. But I think this shows. I like this deal for Atlanta. It was rumored they want Trae Young, and it was rumored they want to get out. And I told you there's no way they pick. I think they got the best out of because they got Dennis Smith Jr. And Wesley Matthews is a free agent after this year, which they could slide over Doncic to the shooting guard. But I don't know. What do you think?
I'm really high on Doncic. I just think just swapping that close, it's always kind of like the
Interesting.
future first round picks. I mean, they gain value. Like there was a first round pick that was involved, right?
Look what happened with Tatum for Fultz. People say, oh my God, they went down 2 slots and they gave up an extra first, whatever.
Yeah.
the Celtics could get as high as a second overall pick next year from that one trade, and so far we got the better rookie. It's very okay.
A lot to be seen. I definitely like it from the Hawks' perspective, and to be seen.
I think the Hawks, for first reaction, I think the Hawks got the best part of the deal.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I feel. Yeah, the Hawks just finessed the Mavericks pretty badly.
So we're going back to Boston. I have to do a little thing. So why would Boston work and not work for LeBron?
It would work because that's a great place if he wants to win. I mean, they'd probably have to move some pieces around, but you'd be getting, I'm sure, at least 2 All-Stars, and one of them being LeBron James, to the team that made it to the Eastern Conference Finals and was a game away from winning. So that'd be a scary team if he wants to win. The cons would be, how does the situation with Kyrie Irving play out? 'Cause I don't think they're teaming up.
That's my big problem. The entire reason that Kyrie left Boston was because that he wanted to be the star of a team, and now LeBron's back in Boston. It doesn't make sense. I feel like you're going to have chemistry issues. Again, if they have to move Gordon Hayward, that's going to cause even more chemistry issues. What do you do with Jason Tatum? There's a lot more cons than pros. I feel like LeBron would be better going to another team.
All right. I didn't say my pick, but I have him going to the Spurs. And hold on a second, we have Adam Silver, number 3 pick.
With the 3rd pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Atlanta Hawks select Luka Doncic.
And saying that.
And keep in mind, like they just said on ESPN, that is traded to Dallas.
Proposed
Dallas,
trade rights to Dallas, yeah.
The Dallas will select Trae Young with the 5th pick, which looks like Jaren Jackson's going number 4.
To the Grizzlies.
So,
That means Bamba's slipping pretty low. So
and
he
this
could be
is
a
where
steal.
it comes in. I told you I have the Celtics going number 6 to get Mohamed Bamba. And I think now they look at this, and Ainge will be like, okay, hey, let's give you a call. They got rid of Doncic. They got rid of Trae Young. 2 people they want. So Magic don't need that much more. So I go after Terry Rozier. He's proven he could be a starter. They got the 2 point guards. They need a point guard. They don't have a point guard. They have DJ Augustine. That's not going to work.
Hey, that's a solid.
So I don't know.
Well, but that's the thing. Do you take? That's a toss-up. I mean, that can go one of 2 ways. For the from the Mavericks' perspective,
The
Magic's perspective is what I said. Right? Either you get a star franchise player, or you spend another season at the bottom of the league. Which
Well,
might happen
they're
anyway.
probably going to spend another
No
season
matter
at the
what they
bottom of
do,
the
they're
league,
not gonna do that.
regardless.
Well, but you know,
And also, they could keep the pick and select Michael Porter if they want, or a power forward of their choosing, for the fact maybe they're not confident Aaron Gordon will remain with them.
Yeah,
Aaron
it's
Gordon is a
possible.
restricted free agent. He's going to ask for max, and I bet you, like, I don't know, the Kings or some low team is going to offer him the max.
And they kind of whiffed on Jonathan Isaac last year.
yeah.
So far. What we've
He hasn't,
seen.
in his defense, though, he hasn't got playing time, but like you said, first reaction, it does seem like they didn't really get the best out of that deal.
All right.
We're on the San Antonio Spurs. Why would I will go first. The reason I see the Spurs working, LeBron and Pop love each other. It's like father and son. They're like best friends. Like LeBron's always wanted to play for him. The reason it doesn't work, now Kawhi wants gone. And trade Kawhi for LeBron, LaMarcus Aldridge, Tony Parker, Dejounte Murray, compared to like Lakers, even the Lakers, Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, or anybody. That's not appealing. So if Kawhi stays, maybe I have them there. This one, I wrote this 2 weeks ago before Kawhi said he wanted out. But I don't think. I think now I trade it to the Lakers. How about Spurs? Pros and cons.
The pros, like you said, Popovich would be a great coach for LeBron to have during his latter stages. The only way I see it happening is if the Spurs make a great deal with Kawhi Leonard, like a home run, and get two young developing stars. I don't see them getting a whole lot of value just because it's a 1-year rental, and from the perspective that LA might be able to offer them more, well, they could also wait a year and try to sign them in free agency. So I don't think they're gonna give up a lot either. So at the end of the day, the Spurs are not gonna be a very competitive organization, even if LeBron were to go there. So I don't think that's really high up on his list, but it's all possible.
Did Rudy Gay decline his player option?
Decline his player option.
Okay, so the way financially that this has to work for the
Real
Spurs,
quick though, they're sending a 2019 protected first-round pick and part of the Trae Young trade. For those who care,
who said
the Mavericks.
so the way financially that this has to work for the Spurs is, so Rudy Gay already declined his player option. That's step one. Step two is that Danny Green declines his player option, which is not likely because he's getting paid a lot of money and no one else is going to pay him that much. And then you have to trade Pau Gasol.
It is rumored though he will exercise his player option.
And then you have to trade the veteran center of Pau Gasol. And then by the time LeBron gets there, there's no one else. You have LeBron James and LaMarcus Aldridge, and that's about it. I don't think there's enough there to, like Daniel said, to entice LeBron to San Antonio.
The next team I have on my list is Cleveland. Pros and cons of him going to Cleveland.
So the way I see him staying as Cleveland would be that family is actually a bigger part of the decision than we thought.
And that's what he said after day one. He said his family's going to play a big role in where he goes. That'd be the main reason. Because you see the Cavs roster, they suck. LeBron's the reason they made it. If you put anybody else, they're not going to win. What? And LeBron said he also wants to compete, so you can't go back to Cleveland. But Los Angeles, great for his family, and gives him exactly what he wants. And trying to compete.
Assuming more stars.
True.
But
Well,
yeah.
Another thing that could possibly keep LeBron in Cleveland, I'm not completely ruling it out yet, because the Cavs don't have to do much to keep him. If LeBron declines his player option, then all the Cavaliers have to do is sign him for a super deal that's $50 million more than any other team's going to give him. You put $220 million on a contract, and that looks really nice, right? And that's something that a lot of teams, like the Spurs, they can't give him that.
That's a good point, but we've seen LeBron over and over again sign these like short deals with a immediate or next to immediate player option. So that shows that he really values flexibility more than the money.
Maybe.
But it's possible that at this stage of his career that
Do you see him signing a 1-and-1, or do you see him signing a long-term deal?
I see a 1-1.
Yeah, I agree with that, especially if he stays with the Cavs.
I think that's his best option in case it does.
Adam Silver.
Jaren Jackson will be selected with the number 4 overall pick. Adam Silver will announce it right now.
With the fourth pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Memphis Grizzlies select Jaren Jackson Jr. from Michigan State.
What are these suits, man?
So Jaren Jackson Jr. goes number 4 to the Memphis Grizzlies. I'm guessing they're supposed to keep it. No one wanted to take on Chandler Parsons' contract. And the Mavericks will select Trae Young next for the Atlanta Hawks. So the next one goes Orlando. We're going to go off topic a little bit. Do they trade or keep the pick?
I think before you do that, I think there's something to be said that of the 29 other teams in the NBA, no one wants Chandler Parsons' disgusting contract. Okay.
It just proves that the 4th pick shows how terrible his contract is. No, that
Yeah.
fourth pick could have been spent on something really good,
Mhm.
and they just proves how terrible it is.
Listen, what was
so
the
Magic?
what was the
um,
question?
Will the Magic keep the 6th overall pick?
I think they probably will. I see the trades being more likely with some other teams coming up, like the Knicks maybe, or the Bulls.
I think the Knicks have a good chance at trying to move up. I heard they want to move up, and I think it is a good possibility they do move up.
I don't think it's likely that the Magic will draft Mo Bamba with their pick. They could Michael Porter Jr. I don't know. They might trade it for a point guard or a star or
And
trade
you're
down in the
saying
draft.
Orlando, the selection of Trae Young sort of makes Orlando want it. It's not saying they want to. They're saying it's more likely Orlando picks Mo Bamba with the number 6 pick, which makes no sense, honestly. They're paying Bismack Biyombo $17 million. They're paying Vucevic like $12 million. You can't bench a $17 million player.
I disagree because where the Magic are, they're firmly in a rebuild, and my philosophy, when you're that far in a rebuild, you select the best player available overall, because you could trade that asset. I just think Bamba is at 6. He's got far and away the most potential, and he's the most enticing option. So I just think he'd go with the best overall.
See, this is not part of the script. We have a script. And this is just how interesting the NBA is. We can go completely off because a trade like Doncic just throws off the entire show. Just like that. And we knew a trade was going to happen, but we didn't know it was going to go down like that. So I'm going to hop around a little bit if you guys don't mind.
Where are we hopping to?
Let's go. We got whiteboards here. And we're going to write down our answers to who we're going to go, and we're going to give explanations. Unlike LeBron, we're not going to give reasons for every team. First thing first, kind of the hardest one there is, where's Kawhi going?
Let me consult my notes. Okay.
And again, keep in mind, you guys can ask us questions. We will be happy to answer. If you have a statement you want to make towards us, we will gladly consider it, and we'll think about it, and we'll probably talk about it if you want us to.
Draft, free agency, what happened?
Any question you have,
this
if you think
year.
Have you asked me, Daniel, have you heard if this is going to happen? I'll give you an honest answer. You guys, we're just trying to help you guys be entertaining. You guys have your answers.
Sir.
Yes.
And let's go Holden first. Answer. Explain your reasoning. Potential deal.
Oh, I don't know an exact deal that would. I might. I have them written down. It's I think from Cleveland's perspective, that's how you get LeBron to stay. Is you do make the trade at the podium.
With the 5th pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Dallas Mavericks select Trae Young from the University of Oklahoma.
And Adrian Wojnarowski just reported the Magic are strong. Bamba. And keep in mind, if you do select someone, you can still trade her on the show. So these selections, besides obviously Young Doncic, because they already got traded, and maybe the first 2 picks, they can still go. The trades are not. Trades can still occur. Just keep that in mind. Explain your reasoning for Cleveland once again.
You make the trade of Love to the Spurs. Maybe you throw in Pau Gasol, just to open up that cap room. And I think that's how you get LeBron to stay in Cleveland. Is you go, oh hey, I have possibly the best defensive player in the league. I'll probably stay in Cleveland and take my $50 or $200 million deal. Who do you have?
I'm a little on this one because Pop said he didn't want to trade West, but
Trade to Western
I'm
Conference.
going with Sacramento. I think they've got a lot of young assets like Hield, Bogdanovich, and of course Bagley now with the number 2. And I think ultimately they'll give the Spurs the best deal. I mean, Boston's also in consideration, but I don't think they'll give up as much as San Antonio wants, just because they don't need to take that risk, that it's just a 1-year rental. And the Kings, I think they're one of the teams that's most likely to take on that risk. They said they want a proven star. I'm not sure how realistic it is that he could stay, but I think the Kings are the type of organization that would make that gamble, so I'm going to say Sacramento. But I do think
It's an
it's
interesting
anyone's
choice.
game.
Yeah. What about you, Daniel?
I am busy.
He's busy right now.
What do you think of the Kings?
What do I? You know, it's interesting now that you have Marvin Bagley there, and it'll be interesting to see how Kawhi will fit into their system. They have Bogdanovich, which personally I think he's going to be a stud. We saw him in the Rising Stars Challenge, right?
Yeah.
Right, where he just went off.
Put on a show.
I feel like maybe one day in the NBA he can keep that up. And then but if he's in the lineup, you have the question of where does Buddy Hield go? Do you think that Justin Jackson's going to develop into a player? And you have Kawhi Leonard in front of you. It's interesting. The Kings aren't going to refuse Kawhi Leonard, of course, right? They'll take another star after the whole DeMarcus Cousins incident. But I don't think it's likely, simply because the Spurs have said that they're not interested in trading with the Western Conference team. Yeah.
I just think that at the end of the day, they'll take the best deal that's offered to them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that does make it a little more unlikely.
Gary Washburn of the Boston Globe has recorded this is the quietest he's heard Celtics on draft night in a very long time, and they don't want to trade out their young core, and they will most likely probably take a selection with the 27th overall pick. All right,
Are the Celtics okay?
shocker. I have them going to Boston.
Oh my God.
For the fact,
It's not the
Adrian Wojnarowski said Celtics can offer the best deal out of any of the people considered. A potential deal for me would be Jaylen Brown, maybe Terry Rozier, the 2019 Kings pick, and maybe like Marcus Morris and a couple things like that. I think Jaylen Brown will not be better than Kawhi is. And I think if the Celtics succeed with a lineup of Kyrie, Hayward, Kawhi, Tatum, and Horford, that could convince Kawhi, like, hey, maybe you could stay another year and we wouldn't have this issue. And there's also things that they could sign Marcus Smart and then trade him so the cap can work easily. And I believe the selection is being made right now from Adam Silver.
Orlando's made the 6th pick. With the 6th pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Orlando Magic select Mohamed Bamba from the University of Texas.
You couldn't have slid one more pick to the Bulls.
Bamba.
So Mohamed Bamba goes number 6 in the Magic, and I think I actually predicted that.
That makes me a little bit upset as a Bulls
I
fan.
did predict that. Oh, yeah.
Because that means that we're going to select Michael Porter Jr.
I'll tell you right now. Chicago Bulls will select Wendell Carter Jr. with the 7th overall pick. What are your thoughts on that?
I've seen that in a couple of mock drafts, and I like it. I think he can develop into a solid player, and Matt, that'll be insane if we can stretch the floor. If Chris Dunn can work on his shooting, you got Chris Dunn, you got Zach LaVine, Denzel Valentine, Lauri Markkanen, and Wendell Carter Jr., who can all make that three-pointer, right? Our floor spacing is going to be insane.
I agree that he's a good fit alongside Markkanen, especially.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think Carter's looking to be the star of the team. I don't think he's looking to be the head of a franchise, and I don't think he will be in Chicago. And I think he'll fit in nicely.
There are some other places they could have gone with that. Maybe
Mhm.
taken more of a gamble, but it's at the end of the day, it's a good fit. I think.
It's a safe pick.
It is a safe pick. And we're also seeing how far Michael Porter Jr. is sliding in the draft.
This has been an issue. Like they said, they had him going number 2, but then his health became an issue. So like, you know what? Maybe not. So like, I think Cleveland takes him with number 8.
Yeah,
I really
do
think
too.
Cleveland takes him. Because if LeBron goes, there's your LeBron play. He's not going to be his LeBron. Don't say I'm not saying that. But he will be a LeBron replacement. He got your starting small forward, will knock down for you.
Well, I think if Michael Porter Jr. goes to the Cavs, then that's for sure for all Cavs fans and your bandwagon fans that LeBron is gone, and all LeBron's fans can follow him to his next team. I feel like that kind of secures it. If they draft
Why'd
a
you say You disagreed with me. You literally disagreed with what I said.
that's what I
Oh
said.
right, because he said
That's what I
that
said.
he's a replacement for LeBron.
Well, yeah, I agree.
All right, let's go back to a little thing. So yeah, I have Kawhi going to Boston.
Oh yeah.
Because I think, like he said though. No, he's not. Greg Popovich does not want to trade him to the West. He does not want to help out the West. So I think he goes to the East, and I can see, you can make the argument for the Sixers, but I'm gonna have to argue with what you said earlier. Fultz in the 10th pick will not get it done. It's Kawhi Leonard. He's a top 5 MVP candidate. You're gonna have to put in Saric and some other things to make that.
I think they're willing to put in Sarge too,
But is that enough? They'll hold out. There's no way.
and a couple future firsts.
There's
I
no
think
way
it's
he
possible.
stays in tonight. There's no way he stays. No way he leaves the Spurs tonight. They'll wait a little bit to see what the offers are. They're not going to move fast because they have all summer. They have all year, and they, like you said, they could wait till the the trade deadline to trade him. So, yeah, that's our first one.
As far as I know, they're not initiating any talks yet.
They're
They're
not.
just listening.
They said you can call. Basically, you can call me. I'll listen, and maybe we can. I'll write it. I'm gonna write it down, and then maybe we could revisit it later. Here's a bit of an interesting one, not a like crazy amount. DeMarcus Cousins.
Mhm.
Where is he going?
Oh yeah, we're doing this.
Did you go first last time, Holden?
Yeah. All right. So I have him going back to the Pelicans. I quite personally, I think he'd be stupid not to. Like people quickly forgot the amazing stat line that he was putting up before he got injured. He was a legitimate MVP candidate, and he could have pushed the Pelicans to the third or maybe second seed. And now if he comes back and you can sign another star, a point guard or a shooting guard to go with that, you have a solid lineup that's a championship competitor, I think, in my opinion.
I think Boogie goes to the team that offers him the most money. I think he'll get a max contract from various teams, including the Lakers probably, but at the end of the day, I also think that the Pelicans take the risk and they re-sign him with a max deal because they just haven't seen the full potential of that front court duo, Davis and Boogie.
Funny you mentioned it. I have him going to the Lakers because I think they're gonna. Like I said, LeBron could go. Even if he does go, I think Boogie and LeBron would be a pretty deadly. Let's do pick and roll Boogie and LeBron. You switch LeBron's guy onto Boogie and Boogie's guy onto LeBron. LeBron could drive, or vice versa. LeBron's guy is small and they just have Boogie in the post. I think the Lakers are going to get either Paul George or Boogie. I think the Lakers know Boogie's upside and they're going to offer him a big deal. But I could see the Pelicans giving him a 1-year deal to prove that he's worth, so he can. Because I heard he does want a 1-year deal to like show what he's worth, unless a team does offer him a max contract. So I'm a little 50-50 Lakers Pelicans, but I don't think the Mavericks will be able to get him. I don't think that's going to happen.
I also think the Lakers are another likely destination.
Paul George.
Oh, this is an easy one. Let me fix my handwriting. Alright.
Where do you have Paul George going?
This is an extremely easy one for any of you that follow the NBA offseason. He's going to the Lakers, without a doubt in my mind. He's said it publicly that he wants to sign with the Lakers, and the Lakers have the cap space and they want him too. If it doesn't, if something has
Hold
to.
on a second.
The Atlanta Hawks trade the draft rights to Luka Doncic, the third pick to the Dallas Mavericks for the draft rights to Trae Young, the fifth pick, and a future first-round pick.
Right, we said that would happen.
And now, with the seventh pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Chicago Bulls select Wendell Carter Jr. from Duke University.
Wendell Carter Jr. goes number 7 to the Bulls. We're halfway done with the lottery. I had George going to the Lakers.
Oh, yep.
He's been rumored to go to the Lakers. Kind of don't see why he wouldn't. OKC didn't work. They got pounced first round. I don't see another team. The Indiana Pacers were they need me a player like that, but there's no way he's going to Indiana. I think it's the Lakers or Thunder, and I would have to side with the Lakers.
I'm also going with the Lakers. I couldn't have said it any better than you, Holden. He said it from so long ago. He said that he wanted to be a Laker, and he's kind of kept it open with, oh, maybe my relationship with Russ will change my mind, but at the end of the day, I think he's definitely going to be wearing purple and gold next season.
I'm also hearing from a source that the Celtics they're at this moment they're not close to anything, but they still could trade into the lottery near the very end. Don't know why they would possibly do that, but it's still a possibility. Where do you have? You already did yours, right?
Yeah, Lakers.
We're gonna put the whiteboards down for a little bit, and we're gonna do some potential things. Where would Kevin Love go if he were to be traded?
Right, and to be fair, the Cavaliers have said that they don't want to trade Kevin Love. Where would he go? I've said this before. I think that if the Cavaliers were to trade him, he could go to the Spurs in some sort of Kawhi Leonard deal.
I also think the Spurs are a possibility, but I'm not sure that they'll be that in love with Love. I think the most likely... I honestly didn't even mean that. I swear. But I think the most likely destination is Portland's swap with C.J. McCollum. I think that fits great with the Cavs and could give them a good start at a rebuild if LeBron leaves.
Could be something, could be nothing, but no one's reported the Cavs pick, and I said I could see that pick going to Hornets for Kemba Walker. Something to keep an eye on. I think a couple of them. I have Love going to the Rockets for Ryan Anderson, and they're going to have to throw in some picks, which I think if they do go, that'd probably be the most likely scenario because they want him to win. If not, I'm going to have to look at this. It's probably the Cavs selection. The Cavs will select Colin Sexton with the number 8 overall pick. What are your initial thoughts on that?
I predicted it.
Before we say something, the Cavs need a small forward, and they passed on Porter. What does this mean? Is he gonna fall down to the Clippers? And here's my question: is there a chance he's out of the lottery?
Of course,
Yeah.
there's a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a chance.
If his injuries are that much of a concern, he could drop to the 15th pick or further.
And he could end up being a huge steal as well.
That could be completely likely that he ends up being like a mid first round pick, and we look back in a couple of years and go, oh, all these teams were stupid.
And let's do something real quick. Kyrie Irving for Jordan Clarkson, Larry Nance, Rodney Hood, Colin Sexton, and Ante Zizic. That's the final trade. This was the last piece of the Kyrie Irving trade.
Like Kyrie goes,
Oh, I see.
Kyrie goes back to the Cavaliers.
It was the consequences of the Kyrie Irving trade. All the
Oh.
picks that were given up along with in the
This
Isaiah
was the
Thomas.
very last trade, minus a 2021 first and second round pick, but that's not really anything important. But that's something to point out for you Boston Celtic fans who really care about that stuff. I wasn't done. I think Kevin Love could go to the Nets. The Nets are one star away from at least making the 8th seed. For what they gave, their new GM, Sean Marks, is a terrific GM. From what he turned he turned a piece of paper into $100 bills. What he's doing with his team, he got D'Angelo Russell for
Practically nothing.
just had to take on Mozgov's contract, which he traded for Dwight Howard, which he's buying out, which gives the Nets 2 max salary slots next year in free agency. I think he has to be one of the best executives in the league. What he's doing, picking up that young talent when he can, I think they can pounce on, maybe give up Rondé Hollis Jefferson or something and get Kevin Love. Another one I have is the Thunder. St. Paul George returns.
I've seen that as well.
Maybe, and also if they want to do the banana boat in Cleveland, Carmelo could opt in and they could trade Carmelo to Cleveland. Maybe not just straight up, but for Kevin Love. And the last one I have is the Phoenix Suns, who would love a Kevin Love.
Would
Did
love
it
a
too.
They
Kevin
have
Love.
to give up Dragon Bender or something like that, but I think it'd be an absolutely perfect fit for the Suns.
Here's an interesting thought. Does he go back to the Timberwolves?
I have read that.
Like that, I
It
feel
has
like
been.
that would be very interesting if the Timberwolves. Oh, the Cavaliers.
Cavaliers select Colin Sexton from the University of Alabama.
Honestly, I'm shocked because on this pre-draft show yesterday, they said the Shai Alexander guy, he could go higher than Sexton. He's a better point guard than Sexton.
I disagree with that 100%.
Sexton goes 8, and I think that's a little too high for Colin Sexton.
I
I
disagree.
think that's too high.
I think that he's a more explosive version of De'Aaron Fox. I think that he's gonna put up a better rookie stat line than De'Aaron Fox, and I really hope that he can be someone great. If he just works on his jump shot, that's gonna be crazy.
You know what I thought about right now? Some of you guys may think, ha ha ha, is Kevin Walker's predictions wrong? It's not. The night's not over. And even if it is wrong, I mean, if it, they could trade Sexton for Walker. This is Walker's replacement. This could be. They have 3 point guards now: George Hill, Jordan Clarkson, and Colin Sexton. They're not going to get playing time. Someone's got to go. Maybe it's Hill if they rebuild. I just don't see the fit. I don't see why they took him.
Yeah, it makes you wonder about their plans for the future.
And it shows the GM's shown he's not afraid to do anything.
Yeah.
He traded his entire team halfway through the season.
Yeah.
No team has ever done that before.
Look how that worked out.
Well, I mean, they had to begin with, wasn't working out too well, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Well, and I think there's something to be said where the second half of the Cavs season is the perfect example of a bunch of good players on a team does not always equate to more wins, right? Just because you pick up Larry Nance and Jordan Clarkson and all this young talent, and Rodney Hood, they were never given the chance to truly shine. Like, whether it be they didn't work with the organization, they weren't given ample minutes, coaching staff or whatever. There's something to be said, and it'll be interesting in the free agency this season. Teams have to remember that there's something beyond just looking at a stat line and believing that will equate into next season on your own team, right? It could go up, it could go down.
Got to interrupt. Right now, I have received word. The Knicks are selecting Kevin Knox with the 9th overall selection. Like it?
Yeah. it's okay. I don't have a huge problem with it. I mean, people have been saying he's undervalued. There are a few other guys left on the board that I probably would have taken.
I'm with you. I think that's a little too high for him.
But I don't mind it too much. I feel like it's safer than some other guys, and the Knicks can't afford to blow this draft.
That's true. I saw first take earlier today, and Stephen A. Smith was right for once, and he said it's either make or miss.
Yeah.
If they get this wrong, they won't hear the end of it. It's not that, oh, better luck next time. They've drafted terribly recently, and this is the new GM's first draft with them, so very interesting. All right, where were we at? We were at. So let's go to another potential trades. Let's say the Raptors do blow everything up. Where would DeRozan go?
I don't have DeRozan going anywhere. I think they'll move Lowry first.
I agree with that.
I'm saying if he
But-
does go, where would it be like an ideal situation for him?
I'm not sure.
That's
maybe
that's kind of tough.
the Clippers, but I'm not. That is tough.
That's the issue with nowadays. The Raptors could want to break it up, but DeRozan doesn't play modern day NBA basketball.
He doesn't.
He's a mid-range shooter. Nobody looks for that anymore. Unless you're a big man, no one cares if you're a mid-range shooter. You got to shoot the three, which he added on last year, and he was a lot better than he was previous years. But I was actually stuck on this for a while, and last year in free agency, he was like, okay, he's going back to the Lakers. He's not the Lakers. He's going back to the Knicks. And there was rumors he'd go to the Lakers, and I could see him going to the Lakers if they strike out. If they get LeBron, no way. If they strike out on LeBron and Boogie and Paul George, I can see DeMar DeRozan being a Los Angeles Lakers.
I think it's more likely that they wait till next season. That's kind of been their strategy, is hit on the big fish, and if you don't, sign some one-year deals and then wait till next summer instead of going with one of those mid-level all-stars in DeRozan.
So my question is, when do you stop?
When do you stop?
When
That's
you
a
gotta
good
realize,
question.
I'm not getting this good player anymore. I gotta get something else.
When
Um,
you win a championship.
Like the Mavericks.
Well, I don't think it necessarily has to be like that because they've got a young core that's going to develop in the midst. So by the time that they get older and they get more complete and they're a decent team, then you start adding some of those all-star guys, but not.
Let's switch
Nice
to a
shot.
new little topic. Not really. It's the same person. Kyle Lowry. Where's the fit?
Where does it fit? God, that contract doesn't fit anywhere.
So that's if they want to rebuild. Oh, and the Silver is going to the stage. So now Kevin Knox.
With the 9th pick in the 2018 NBA draft, the New York Knicks select Kevin Knox from the New York Knicks.
Oh, Knicks fans are
Oh,
throwing.
not this again. Look at that.
Oh, they hate it.
Wow. It's Porzingis all over again. They're all wearing Porzingis jerseys too. I don't understand Knicks fans.
They're the worst fans in the world.
I really don't understand.
Wow. That was not a reaction I thought. I thought Knicks not pretty good fit for them. But
Why
then
are we getting
again,
mad at that?
Michael Porter's now the figures.
He's not.
Yep.
He is now double figures.
Do you think there's any chance Sixers pick him right now?
No, No
No, I don't think Philly is the right.
Philly's not
Fit
right
him.
for him. I think Robert Covington is fine right where he is.
This
Look
is
at that.
So
Look at how athletic
this has to
he
be
is.
even the Doncic trade. This has to be the story of the night. Porter was supposed to be a top 10 pick, and he
Yeah.
might fall out of top 10. So that means they must have found something in the medical reports that showed.
And it wasn't that long ago where we thought nothing much of it. It wasn't
Yeah,
until
we thought, oh, okay, he'll come back.
it wasn't until the medical records issue emerged.
With the 10th pick in the NBA draft, The 76ers are selecting Mikal Bridges. Thoughts? Go.
I like it.
I had Mikal above because I said Mikal is a better. Wait. Oh no, I have Lonnie Walker. Who's out of the top 10 that I thought was doing it? I don't know. That's it.
Oh, I have a few. I thought Miles Bridges was gonna make it to the Knicks. I'm not mad that they got Kevin Knox. I feel like they're both amazing players. And then I thought Zaire Smith was gonna go to the Sixers, but Mikal Bridges, you can't. That's a solid player.
He's compared to Otto Porter, like I said.
But
It's a small forward, and it shows. There goes Porter. He's now officially out of the top 10.
Mhm.
Charlotte, that's an interesting place. They have Michael Gilchrist. He's not going to be.
Yeah.
Do you see Charlotte potentially taking it?
Yeah, it could happen, but I feel like he's really dropping at this point. I think he's going outside the lottery.
This is crazy to see. This is something 2 weeks ago, like you said, we would have never predicted this happen. This is absolutely insane. As I said earlier, like yesterday, they said if he goes to the Cavs at 8, there's no way they don't take him. They didn't take him, so maybe they found something in the medical reports like this is career ending.
Mm-hmm.
He's not gonna be the same player.
I also like that. I like the pickup of Mikal Bridges for the 76ers because now I feel like he'd be perfectly comfortable playing the shooting guard, and if JJ Redick leaves, the 76ers don't have to panic. They don't have to freak out. They have a solid, I think, starter caliber player in Mikal Bridges, and they'll be just fine.
I had Mikal Bridges at 6, so in my mind, this is
And what he said,
kind of stealing.
I think this was a really good pick from the Sixers.
Mm-hmm.
I think they could have got not the best player, you're not the best player, but
They'd
be someone that they could look back and be like, oh, even it could happen again. Knicks fans could think they drafted the wrong guy. They can get Michael Bridges and Mikal Bridges, and they think he's better.
Yeah.
This draft, like I said, we had a script, but this draft is going so insane. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, and we haven't covered nearly half of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. I start something new, and then something incredible comes out of nowhere. Let's do a quick one. This one won't be long. We'll have a minute 30 to do it. Will Dwayne Wade be an NBA player next year?
I say yes.
I also think he will.
I think he's not going to take the Tim Duncan route and do a silent farewell. I think he's doing the big farewell tour, saying goodbye to all of his fans and all the players and everything. I feel like he does a big farewell tour.
I think this is his last year. This one right here. He's going to make it a post on Instagram. My last year, I'll be retiring at the end of the year. And then, like he said, it's Dwayne Wade. He wants the fame. He's going to go out on top. Okay, he's back. But will he play for the Heat?
I think yes.
Yeah. He's retiring.
He'd be stupid not to end his career with the Heat.
Do you think there's any chance, though, he could team up with LeBron in LA? Because that would be a dream come true to go to LA and play with LeBron.
We saw him try to team up with LeBron in Cleveland, and
But the counter argument, we saw him team up in Miami, which he was younger, but it still worked.
yeah, I just think that with his latest move to Miami, that's a sign that he's retiring there.
But I'm gonna be that one guy. He wasn't in charge of that. The GM's like, hey, how would you feel if we trade you back to the Heat? He's like, I'll take that. He got traded. He did not sign.
Yeah, but
Well, yeah, but he was fine
Yeah,
with
he
that.
was-
He was happy with
He
that.
didn't have a say so. He was just saying, hey, I'm gonna trade you back. And he's like, okay, that's cool. But he could have easily just traded him to the Celtics, and Wade could have nothing to do about it. And Mikal Bridges will be announced right now.
With the 10th pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Philadelphia 76ers select Mikal Bridges from
Mikal.
Philadelphia University.
Mikel.
So we already gave our thoughts on that. You know,
See, Sixers fans are happy about this one.
Mhm.
They think this is a good pick.
I can see Miles Bridges going right now. I think Miles Bridges would be the next pick right now. Who do you got? 'Cause I know my mock draft is garbage. It's not even close anymore.
If we're following my mock draft, I have them.
We're not doing mock draft. Who do you think they're gonna take right now? Like out of what you've seen, who do you think is next before I get the notification?
I don't know. My gut tells me that it's still Shea Alexander. My gut tells me that like that's.
So with Shea Alexander, does it mean Kemba's gone?
I think that Kemba and Alexander are both combo guards, and they can both either play the one or the two. And I feel like they could be a dynamic duo. I don't think that picking them means that Walker's leaving.
I think Miles Bridges, like you said, or maybe Lonnie Walker too, could be an
That's
interesting.
true.
That's a solid pick.
I think a shooting guard would be taken right now from the Charlotte Hornets. All right, we did that little thing, and let's do maybe not an easy one. Which new coach of a new team do you think will strive best?
I have Dwayne Casey with the Detroit Pistons. I think he's a good fit there. Just he'll have a chance to redeem himself basically, because he led the Raptors to their most wins in franchise history, and then gets fired. So he'll have some interesting pieces to work with. A lot of people had the Pistons finishing higher. Maybe they underachieved a little bit.
Well, and
This year,
some
so-
people forget I forget their exact record, but they started this season on fire. Right? They were a team that no one expected to do good, but they did, and then they slipped
And then
down
they
and became
sucked.
a lottery team.
And then they traded for Griffin. Then they did good. They won like 5 in a row, and then they sucked. Is where he going a lost cause? He has 2 big men building around 2 big men in a league where it's a combo guard. You have to get stretch 4 or something. Is he? How is he going to potentially make that work?
Well, he said he wants to stretch out Blake Griffin's game. We'll see how that works out, but I think he'll maximize what Griffin can do next season. I'm not saying Griffin's going to totally transform, but keep in mind you have Reggie Jackson there too, so it's not totally
And
big men.
Holden Hartle has predicted this correct. Charlotte is selecting Shea Gilgeous-Alexander with the number 11 overall pick.
This goes back to Kemba Walker.
But a new report just came out. They are discussing trading this pick, and a team that will be interested, the Phoenix Suns, who need a point guard. Will Shai Gilgeous-Alexander be a perfect fit for the Suns? Or are they reaching for the stars for that one?
So I don't know the exact situation with Elfrid Payton. What's that situation? Is he going?
He's
to
a
free
restricted free agent.
He's for the Suns.
Yes.
I'd rather see the Suns take Elfrid Payton. They could use the shooting that Alexander could give to the team, but I feel like they need a more established point guard in Payton.
It all depends on what they're willing to give up, but I definitely like the move of going out and getting Gilgeous-Alexander.
But keep in mind, though, it is just a report. It actually isn't a
Right.
trade yet. They say that it's a trade possibility. So
The potential.
let's say it doesn't happen. How does he fit? And he already gave his answer. How about you? How does he fit in Charlotte? Or is this just totally a pick to trade?
I think they're gonna trade either Alexander or Walker at this point. Yeah, I think I don't see him as coming off and starting off the bench for them. I think they're gonna make a move.
So the Hornets need to make a move. They've tried. They made the playoffs once in the last, I don't know, a long time.
To give some people some
Breaking news.
breaking news.
League sources say the Clippers have been trying to lure the Spurs into Kawhi trade talks with an offer featuring their 2 lottery picks and Tobias Harris. It appears they're making the 12th pick and 13th pick for themselves, with Michael Porter still on the board. He made 12th and 13th. Is Porter going to Los Angeles? Or do they have Harris and Gallinari, and why would they need him? Or is it just a trade piece for Kawhi Leonard?
I like the argument better that they have Gallinari and they don't and Tobias Harris, and there's no room for Michael Porter on the roster. Why
So
would he go there?
If they do select him, I think it's going to be a trade. I don't
gotta
think
be.
there's any way they keep them because it makes no sense. They have 3 small forwards that are capable.
But we've seen it. Who wants it? Who's willing to take the chance on Michael Porter Jr.? No one.
At this point, I mean, his stock just keeps getting lower and lower. Yeah.
I know even him, like even though you're confident in everything and stuff, I didn't think he predicted this was going to happen.
No, certainly.
I think he probably thought, like I said, I think at worst he probably thought he would go, at worst, he'd probably go 10 to the Sixers. I don't think he'd ever picture himself going to the Clippers, but it's a possibility.
Count your
And
blessings.
to reach back to what you said about the potential Spurs trade, I think the Spurs are going to be patient on this one. I don't see them making a move at all tonight
Well, and remember, they don't.
with Kawhi.
Popovich does not want to help a Western Conference team.
But he said he will help for the right price. Tobias and 2 lottery picks, I don't think that's the right price, especially because, like I said, you got to wait out. You got to see what the Celtics are willing to offer. Like if they want to give up Jalen, if they give up Jalen, Jalen's better than Tobias or any of these 12 or 13 picks.
Yeah.
And I think Silver is going to make the announcement.
And we go back to the stage now, and Adam Silver.
With the 11th pick in the 2018 NBA draft, the Charlotte Hornets select Shea Gilgeous-Alexander
Gilgeous.
from Hamilton, Canada, and the University of Kentucky.
So there's that. The Los Angeles Clippers are on the clock for 2 straight picks. Out of my mock draft, I have Lonnie Walker, Miles Bridges, and Michael Porter. And Robert Williams. 4 players still available with the last 4. I didn't get Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in my top 14.
And just to give like a sense of how hard this is, out of all the lottery picks, I only got 4 right? And 3 of those were the first, second, and third picks, which were already
I know
locked in.
people like to roast, and it's like, oh, they thought this was going to happen. They thought this guy's be good. It's a hard thing to do.
It's really hard.
It's really hard. If you actually try and you're like, oh, I knew this was going to happen, do it, have a live stream, and then look back on it. You'll probably get roasted for what you said about, like what we're saying with Michael Porter. Watch him be like the greatest of all time after this. You don't know what's going to happen. That's what makes the NBA much more interesting than any other league. It's like, it's unpredictable.
I mean, teams don't know. I mean, you see busts all the time. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
They talk all day about scenarios. They'll be like, oh, what if we do this? What if we give you this? What if we give you this? It's hard. And they're like, and then people are like, oh, obviously Aiden's the #1 pick, but the Los Angeles Clippers, league sources have told me, have acquired Gilgeous-Alexander in a trade with the Charlotte Hornets. Thoughts?
Oh, just kidding. I did predict that.
Well, they, like I said, they moved one of the 2-point guards, Alexander, and it all depends on the details.
Yeah,
Honestly.
I'm thinking who the Clippers get
Yeah,
back. I mean, they
it's-
have. Is it their 13th pick? If it is, they have to get something back because
Is it Avery Bradley?
Avery Bradley's a free agent. He cannot be traded.
Just kidding. Is it Patrick? I don't know.
See, the Hornets would probably
They're
want-
sending the 12th pick and 2 second-round picks to the Hornets. Who won this trade?
the Hornets.
Okay.
So who are they? Who are they getting? The 13th pick and
The 12th
The
pick.
12th pick
Oh,
and
the
2 second-round picks.
The very next pick.
I don't. I feel like it's a pretty even trade. I don't know if anything I'm interested to see who the Hornets are going to take. Do they take Miles Bridges? He's still on the board. Do they
Yeah.
take Zaire Smith?
Or
I-
Porter still available.
Porter is still available. You know, Bridges and Smith are both really explosive players. that Charlotte could use. They could.
With the number 12 pick, they're selecting Miles Bridges.
Miles
Mm.
Bridges.
And that's who we predicted them going number 11 with. They got 2 second-round picks. I think the Hornets won this trade. They got who they wanted, and they got 2 second-round picks.
Yeah.
I think they won this trade. The Clippers must have been really high on Gilgeous, though.
Yeah. Just to go down one spot and to give up 2 second rounders. That says they really like Alexander.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, how many people are watching?
There not many. There are 4 people watching.
For those watching who have been here the entire time, thank you for joining us. Hope we're entertaining. Remember, you can ask us questions if you so please. If you have something to say, there are comments. Why don't you tell us that?
Because it's Oliver.
Oh God, what he said.
Coach Romo, and then he's making fun of our chat room. And how there's one person who's commented.
You know, we can block you from this thing, right? Just letting you know. Let's do one more. A little easy, a little probably not. Award predictions. Here you go.
And do we want to use the whiteboards, or do we?
You can say it.
Okay. For this year, it's. I hate to say it, it's James Harden. James Harden is the MVP. I hate the way that he plays. I hate him. But he did put up an impressive stat line. Daniel, your TV's doing stuff.
Yep, Harden.
Harden
It-
MVP.
Pretty clear. He led the Rockets to 1 seed, highest scoring average.
What?
And Jerome Robinson goes number 13 to the Clippers.
Wow.
Porter Jr. is either Denver or bust.
Jerome Robinson? I didn't see him going in the lottery at all.
Wow, this is a development. Wow. Porter could slip out. This is incredible.
This is surprising.
This is.
Even if you're an expert, you did not predict this, as he will be announcing this Hornets pick.
With the 12th pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the LA Clippers select Miles Bridges from Michigan State University.
Proposed rights to Hornets.
So Miles Bridges, the latest great basketball player to come from Flint Town. And Tom Izzo has another spot selected tonight. Second Michigan State player that he's been picked
Okay, so-
in the lottery. Bridges left Flint
So do you
Southwestern
have-
High School.
That's another award.
Oh, rookie of the
Oh,
year.
I have MVP James Harden.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Rookie of the year.
Rookie of the year. I'm a Bulls fan and a Jazz fan, and I think that what Donovan Mitchell has done this season, it's electrifying, and it's something that I've never seen in the years that I've watched basketball. So I have Donovan Mitchell.
I have Ben Simmons because it's a regular season award, like all of these awards, and I just think he performed better all around than Mitchell. And Tatum, you might say he's in the conversation, but I think how those two guys led their teams is above what he was able to do.
I Ben Simmons for the fact. The argument is Simmons won't win Rookie of the Year because he's not a rookie. But he is. So you guys are saying he's going to win. But your excuse is because he's not a rookie. But he is, and he's going to win Rookie of the Year. Coach of the Year, this is a very tough one. Who you got?
Who do I got? I need to examine my notes. Oh, okay. Speaking of Jazz fans, I'm picking Quinn Snyder. I don't even know if he's a candidate.
He is.
He is?
He's one of the final 3.
For good reasons. He was put in a really rough position. With Rudy Gobert out for the first portion of the season, his only option was to give the reins of the offense to Donovan Mitchell. And look what happened. You made the Nuggets eat their trade as they traded him to the Jazz. And Quinn Snyder, he developed Donovan Mitchell so quickly in a way that no one could have predicted, and I feel like credit has to be given to that. I think personally, with the help of Rudy Gobert later on, he let Donovan Mitchell led his team to I think it was the 4th seed in the playoffs.
So real quick though, say Denver doesn't get him, Washington doesn't need Porter. How far down can Porter go? It's either Denver. I don't think there's any way Washington picks him up.
Does he?
Yeah.
Phoenix doesn't need him. The Bucks don't need him. The Spurs, maybe.
At 18.
I can see that, but that's incredible. He goes down to 18.
Or if the Hawks keep their 19th pick, does he? I think for sure, if the Hawks keep their pick, he goes 19 to the Hawks. I feel like that's
that low. There's not going to be anybody who is potentially.
Yeah,
well,
even like you could say you can take a risk if it's that low. It's not going to kill you if you don't get a good pick right there.
Mhm.
But something interesting for me and some Boston fans, would Ainge strike on this and be like, okay, let's just pick him up and see what happens. If Hayward goes in a couple of years, we have Porter to back him up, and if it sucks, then we struck out. But it's not a big risk. Denver has been seriously considering Michael Porter Jr. with number 14. They're deciding right now, so it's just they're considering, but it's not for a fact. Denver a good fit?
It could be. I don't think it's all like the glamour that Michael Porter wanted, but it's a team that's willing to give him a chance, which is really what all Porter needs.
Yeah, they could use a player like that, stretch 4 / big
Small
3.
forward. Yeah.
So it could be a fit. I'm not sure though. Still some other guys on the board, but it would be a good fit.
I can see, like, I still have Lonnie Walker.
Yeah.
That's a shocker that's out of the top 10. Robert Williams, he's supposed to be top 14. There's a lot of them that are supposed to
Because
go, and they're not there.
I think Lonnie Walker has. I think he could be a bust. With the same he has this confidence issue. You're right that we've seen it. The best example is Kwame Brown. Right, look what confidence did to his career, and I really don't want the same thing to happen to Lonnie Walker. I think he's a smooth player. His handles and his jump shot, he's a really smooth player, and I like him. He needs to be confident every shot he takes if he wants to be successful.
That's true.
So with award predictions for this year, defensive player of the year.
Well, my coach of the year.
Oh, coach of the year.
First off, like I said, it's a regular season award, so I'm going with Dwayne Casey. He was able to take his team to the 1 seed after most wins in franchise history. After not improving the roster too much, really. You had the same core group of guys, and he exceeded a lot of expectations. And I think the fact that he was fired will make people, that's a travesty. Let's take a closer look at him and what he's been able to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
Not that should be a factor, but.
And I have Brad Stevens. But I'll get to that after this.
Have their second lottery pick. Let's go to the commissioner.
With the 13th pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the LA Clippers select Jerome Robinson from Boston College.
So Jerome Robinson is a little bit of a shocker right there, but they have said his stock has rise. So 14th, Porter Jr. Is he going?
Well, first of all, again, another reaction by the Clippers. The Clippers are upset with this pick. But Clippers fans, they just showed a guy going.
Well, because he's a no-namer. People don't really tend to look at that.
I think I think Porter goes next. I could also see Zaire Smith going 14, but I'd say probably Porter. Now that I
Those
think
are
about
not.
it.
He barely made the lottery. That's just saying something's wrong, and that's the main storyline so far. And there's been 2 trades.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Coach of the year, I have Brad Stevens for the fact you've heard it before. He was given basically a paperclip and pencils and turned them into all-stars and terrific role players. And he was one win away from the NBA Finals without Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward. Not a lot of coaches can say that. Casey, he makes the point. It is a regular season award. I as a Celtics fan, I'm a little biased though, so I have to go with Brad Stevens. The next one, of course, is most improved player. Probably not that big of an argument right here.
Yeah.
Oladipo.
Oladipo.
All right, we're not going to get into that. Defense player of the year. This has a little
Yeah.
argument. What do you got?
Really, I think it's pretty obvious with Gobert.
I'm just saying the argument is people are saying he didn't play enough games. I
Well-
think same with Embiid last year, rookie of the year.
He still had a huge impact on his team. I mean, without them, him and Mitchell, they don't have any other stars on that team, and they make it to the second round. He's the defensive anchor for that team, and he just proved his value so much by the success of his team. People are afraid to go up against Gobert, and it's the biggest reason why they're such a good defensive team, and they're allowed to have a slow-paced offense.
I have Anthony Davis because I think that he's a more dynamic defensive player, and he has the argument of he played more games than Rudy Gobert. Not only is he an amazing shot blocker, he also gets a surprising amount of steals. And I think, I just think he was the best defensive player during the 2017-2018 season.
It's a good pick. I just don't think he has quite the same presence as Gobert.
I have to agree with him. You can see Westbrook, Harden, whoever, they attack the rim compared to Davis and Gobert. They change their shot 100% when Gobert's on them. Davis, they still get over. Gobert is a very big defensive, so I have Gobert as defensive player of the year. And last one, we did all of them.
Well, no, we still who's
Six man?
six man of the year.
I did not do that. Damn. 6 man of the year.
I feel like this is a pretty easy one too. Lou Williams.
Lou Williams.
Yeah.
I don't really have an argument with that. The best coach, I didn't say mine. Did you have yours?
Brad
Brad
Stevens.
Stevens?
No, the new coach. The best new
Oh,
coach that's Strive.
right. I said Casey. I don't think.
I said Casey. I didn't go. I have an interesting one. I think it's Mike Budenholzer with the Milwaukee Bucks. I think that Budenholzer finally has a star that he can work with, and I like a star, an MVP candidate, and I think that he can do something amazing with that team. I really hope so. What do you think? Do you think that Budenholzer is going to be any good on the Bucks?
Yeah, a lot of it is because he's the legacy of Jason Terry,
Uh-huh.
so that's gonna affect how people perceive him. But sure, I'm not too familiar with the coaching style of Budenholzer, but I don't see any reason why he wouldn't be a good fit in Milwaukee. No red flags that I can see.
Another interesting pick that I have is David Fizdale on the Knicks. I'm really interested to see how that's going to work out, especially with their draft pick this year. I'm terrible. I forgot who it was. Oh,
Who?
who did the Knicks just draft?
Kevin Knox.
Kevin Knox. Yeah, I feel like I feel like David Fizdale can do something really impressive with Kevin Knox and develop him as a player and make him a legitimate contender. Who's
The
your
coach?
new coach that will thrive?
Igor Kokostov.
It's interesting. I'm curious to see what he's gonna do too.
Is not known because he came overseas. But from what I've seen, he's a good coach. He's not going to be the best coach in the league, but he's up there. He's one of the best coaches. Let's go another one. One signing you are 100% certain will happen.
Paul
That
George.
does not include re-signing, FYI.
Oh, that messes me up.
Paul George to the Lakers. It's gonna happen. He said he wants to be a Laker.
Sources have just said it was between Porter Jr. and Zaire Smith. And Porter Jr. won. Michael Porter Jr. will be selected with the next pick. What are your thoughts?
Michael Porter, I hope he does good. I really does. I really do. I really want him to take all the haters right now and prove them wrong. But, you know, he has everything going against him. Right? If he doesn't perform, then, you know, he was injured, he didn't have any call time to prepare. He has everything going against him. Right? But if he can manage to like prove all of these doubters wrong and rise above and be a legitimate NBA star, you got to give props to that.
And at 14, I think it's worth the risk.
Yeah, with where he's being selected.
Considering how high people were on him before all of this injury drama.
We're talking
took
about a
place.
potential number one pick right here.
Right.
That went 14.
Yeah.
And it's still definitely risky, but it's good value.
100%.
100%. See, you messed me up with this re-signing thing because I'm 100% sure that Zach LaVine's coming back to the Bulls, and I'm 100%.
That's an easy one. That's a restricted free agent.
I'm also 100% sure that Chris Paul is coming back to the Rockets. But I have to. I'm gonna jump on to Ben's bandwagon that Paul George is going to the Lakers.
That's it. Here's Adam Silver.
I'm interested to see what Porter Jr.'s reaction is.
With the 14th pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Denver Nuggets select Michael Porter Jr. from the University of Missouri.
Very positive.
All smiles now because once you're selected, the goal is just to produce. He'll have.
All right, so Porter Jr. in the lottery is done. For those following my Instagram, I am not going to post another out of lottery except for the Celtics pick. So tune into here.
What?
Troy Brown is going number 15 with the Washington Wizards.
That's an interesting pick. I feel like he might get traded. Or does that mean that Bradley Beal's gone? Interesting.
Yeah, that. I still think they're gonna keep Beal with what he did last year when Wall was out.
Mm-hmm. See, that's the in the NBA draft that we're watching right now. They're showing videos of Michael Porter Jr. in high school because that's all we have. That's all we have to work with, right? And of course, he was amazing in high school, but right, this isn't high school anymore. This is the NBA. I'm really worried that he's not going to produce.
Quick word. Hey, if you want to donate, the donation link is in the description. Be a buddy, not a bully.
Where's like all your Celtics people? We have a surprisingly low
I just
amount
yelled
of
at them.
viewers.
They told me there was like 20 and said yes. Disrespectful.
League sources.
Just pick one.
Okay. Next year's awards, I guess.
Next year's awards. Yep.
Well, the Phoenix Suns with the 16th pick will select Dante DiVincenzo.
Done.
Mm.
See, I have problems with that pick too. I have problems with Dante DiVincenzo. It just all in all, I feel like no one would have cared about him unless he, without what he did in his last in the NCAA
I
tournament.
heard some rumors that he was going to go 27 to the Celtics.
Yeah.
And he's going 16.
I have big problems with that. I don't feel like he's going to produce at an NBA level. I hope he proves me wrong, but I'm really doubtful that it's
It
going to
also
happen.
shows Lonnie Walker is not top 16. Which goes to what he said. And Sahar Smith, he's going
Yeah.
out of the top 15 too.
I really figured that the Suns
He-
would take.
He's going to be a sleeper.
This is crazy.
And they already have Booker. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. The
See,
Suns-
this draft is just turning into something insane. So we got the next two picks, so we have a couple minutes to spare. Okay. 100% I'm sure about. I have Paul George to the Lakers. I'm 100% sure that will most likely happen. Let's do Chris Paul. Bit easy, could not be easy. I'm gonna go first for why it would not be easy. He could want to play with LeBron in Los Angeles. It's been reported he wants to recruit him to Houston, but he wouldn't mind playing with him in Los Angeles. I'd say there's a 95% chance he re-signs with Houston and a 5% chance he goes to Los Angeles.
I disagree with you in the sense that I think there's a 100% chance that he re-signs with the Rockets. He came out and said, I forget the exact quote, but he said that he's more focused on recruiting LeBron than his own free agency. And that kind of gave it away that he's coming back to the Rockets and that his main goal is recruiting LeBron to the Rockets.
He wants a max contract. What if the Rockets don't give him that?
I have no reason to see why they would.
I'm not saying they wouldn't. I'm saying what if they didn't?
Then sure.
Where would he go?
Like,
Where,
LA.
Wherever LeBron
Yeah.
goes?
It'll be funny if he goes to the Lakers because David Stern didn't like that last time Chris Paul tried to go to the Lakers, and the reunion of coming back to LA. That'll be fun.
The Lakers seems like the only place that he could really follow LeBron because they have 2 max slots, potentially.
As you guys know, we're gonna grab our whiteboard real quick. As you guys know, I'm a huge Isaiah Thomas fan. So, let's bring him up. Where is Isaiah Thomas going?
Let me check my sources.
For me, I have him going to the Orlando Magic on a 1-year deal, prove-it deal. He was hurt this year, so he didn't play a lot. When he went to Los Angeles, he played a little decent, not the greatest, but then he got to get surgery again to get him healed. I think Orlando gave him a 1-year deal to see, hey, are you good? Are you not? And I could see him fit in Orlando.
I also said Orlando for those reasons, but don't sleep on the Lakers if that doesn't work out. If the Lakers free agency doesn't work out.
I'm gonna pause you right there. We have a guy named Exploding Pedal who said that there is no description so that they can donate money. So is there like a link that I can give them?
hate my life. I don't have a description. What I have in there is a Venmo. If you know what a Venmo is, it's an app. You can download it. You can go to link to your credit card and stuff. My Venmo is Daniel Romo 68. You should download the app. It's not that hard. It doesn't cost any money to get. Yeah. Thank you though. That's very much appreciated. Oh yeah.
He's
I heard too he could resign if like his market doesn't go as he wants. There's a very good chance he re-signs with the Lakers because the Lakers would not mind getting him back. It's not one of those. Oh, I guess we have to get him back. It's like he's basically their plan D.
yeah. I
If
mean,
this doesn't work, they want him back.
we haven't seen him fully healthy since he was an MVP candidate. I mean, it's pretty general consensus that he's not going to be the same. I'm not saying he will be the same, but I think he'll be better than what he's shown, which isn't saying much.
I want to keep in mind something real quick as they're showing this right now. Just because we're out of the lottery does not mean these players will suck in the NBA. They're showing all these good players that are that were picked. Some were picked 60th. Isaiah Thomas, as we're talking about, Kyle Kuzma, Rudy Gobert, Draymond Green. You heard all of those stories. So don't just tune out of this draft. This draft is still very interesting.
You have this player on the screen right now, Aaron Holiday, who I'm in love with. I feel like this guy is an electrifying player.
Who do you have? Isaiah Thomas going.
I have him going to the Spurs, especially if the Spurs are in win now mode. If I feel like signing Isaiah Thomas, I feel like he'll do well under Popovich. I feel they need a strong point guard. DeJounte Murray. He's proven.
Hold on a second to interrupt you. Adam Silver, 15th pick from Washington Wizards.
We have another trade to announce.
We're announcing a Clippers
The
trade.
Charlotte Hornets trade the draft rights to Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, the 11th pick, to the LA Clippers for the draft rights to Miles Bridges, the 12th pick, and 2 future second-round picks. And with the 15th pick in the 2018 NBA draft, the Washington Wizards select Troy Brown Jr. from the University of Oregon.
Troy Brown Jr. goes 15 to the Wizards, and like I said earlier, Dante DiVincenzo, or whatever his name is going 16 to the Suns. So back to Isaiah Thomas to the Spurs. What's your reason?
I feel like he'll do well under Popovich. I feel like it's another way that could possibly entice Kawhi to even stay in San Antonio. They need a starting point guard. I feel like Isaiah Thomas can prove himself once again in San Antonio. But there's also the other side of the story, which could be that it's possible that Isaiah Thomas, along with a few others, are an I can only thrive under Brad Stevens system player, right? We've seen this with Isaiah Thomas, and we've seen this with a few other players. I'm worried that it's going to happen with Marcus Smart, but you got to give credit to Brad Stevens in his way that he can formulate an offense around a person's specialization, right? And I really hope that the Spurs can do the same thing if they pick him up.
All right, let's go to a little big free agent right now. This is an interesting one. There's no clear-cut favorite. Where is DeAndre Jordan going? I'll go first. There is rumors he wants to go to the Rockets. Financially, that doesn't work. They'd have to give up a lot, and I don't think they're really going to do that. They'd rather get Clint Capella back, which is not cheaper, but it's easier. I have him going to the Mavericks. And I have this as an I'm sorry. I should have picked you in the first place. His Clipper time didn't end well. He didn't like the way management was going and all that. He wanted to get traded at the deadline. They didn't trade him. He was not very happy about that. I have him going to the Mavericks. They need a center. Boogie's probably going to go back to New Orleans. DeAndre's no way. There's no way he's going back to the Clippers. So they need a center. DeAndre's a center. He's a pretty good one too. I have him going to the Dallas Mavericks.
I'm pretty surprised on how on the same page we are. I also have him going to the Mavericks. I think part of the reason he was able to be convinced to stay in LA last time was because they had those pieces and they were like, okay, just give it a little more time. We're gonna make this work. We're still working on this with CP3 and Blake, and then it all blew up. And he really has no reason to stay. So if he does go, which I think he does, the Mavericks is our best hint because that's what he was going to do last year.
And that's where he's from too. So that's a big factor.
Well, and that'll be a deadly lineup of Dennis Smith Jr., Luka Doncic, Wesley Matthews, Harrison Barnes.
They're trying to get the best team they can because this is Dirk's last season. They're trying to at least push for the playoffs just for him. They're not going to win a championship. There's no way. But they're going to try to push for the playoffs just so he can, like you said, it's going to be a potential Dennis Smith, Luka Doncic, Harrison Barnes, Dirk, and DeAndre Jordan. And that sounds like an 8th seed, a little decent bench, and that's an 8th, 7th seed for me.
So I have the popular pick of the Rockets. I feel like it's if this is if Capella doesn't work out. This is if Capella gets a better offer from another team and I think that he'll do better somewhere else. And I have an argument for him going to another team. But if the Rockets can move Ryan Anderson, I feel like DeAndre Jordan could go to the Rockets.
Speak for the devil. Clint Capella. Where's he going? I will go first. I have Clint Capella. A surprise turn events going to the Phoenix Suns because earlier in the offseason it was reported the Suns will pay him as much as they possibly can so he could come back, and it's a nice little deal, like a little Alexander. No, he didn't go. Whatever point guard they pick up, Booker, T.J. Warren.
Right, but my problem with that is how much money are the Suns willing to spend on Capella for him to start behind Ayton? Or does Ayton become a six-man?
Yeah, Ayton is the only problem I see with that.
Ayton could play the floor. Ayton, they could start a Boogie and Anthony Davis. They could start a twin tower. Ayton could spread the floor too.
I mean, that'd be interesting. I'm not sure if that would work out.
It's my prediction, and I believe it's going to happen. How about you?
I think that Houston values them so much that even though he is gonna earn a max offer sheet from
I have breaking
other
news to
teams-
announce real quick. Hector. The 76ers have made a trade with the Phoenix Suns, and that trade is they're trading Mikal Bridges for Zaire Smith.
and Smith.
Straight up.
What is his pick?
Smith is
When-
going 16 instead of Dinwiddie and Javale.
Hmm.
That's, you know,
Reaction.
the 76ers had a solid pick and they blew it.
It was Sixers and who?
The Suns.
That makes more sense for the Suns.
It does make more sense for the Suns, but I'm upset with the 76ers. As much as I love Zaire Smith, and I think that he'll do well in Philadelphia. I think that Mikal Bridges is the safer choice.
It's Zaire Smith and a 2020 first round pick to the Sixers for Mikal Bridges. So, for that, based on that trade, it seems like the Sixers thought they were equal and they were heads or tails because it's a little blockbuster if you
Mhm.
ask me.
Yeah.
76.
Yeah, for sure.
Make that argument.
Back to Clint Capella, I have him going to the Lakers. If the Lakers want to pursue DeMarcus Cousins and that ends up not working out, I feel like Clint Capella is a good option. I feel like this could be Clint Capella's chance to be the face of a really young team, of a really young core.
I would not mind that. And again, I have him getting max offer sheets, but I think at the end of the day, Houston really values Capella, even if it puts them way over the luxury, into the luxury tax. So I think they'll re-sign him.
Oh, and we missed it, but Zaire Smith was just drafted by the Phoenix Suns with the 16th pick.
Which we now know he will be traded to the 76ers for Mikal Bridges.
So,
I really hate that trade for Philly.
For
They get a first round pick in return, but
A first rounder?
2021 first round pick.
I don't mind that then.
here's a report. Knicks fans really wanted Michael Porter Jr. and that's why they were really upset when they got Kevin Knox. They were really upset that name was not Michael Porter Jr. It'll be interesting in 4 or 5 years to see who's the better player, Kevin Knox or Michael Porter Jr. To be fair, they have very similar playing styles. It's just one has a good back, the other doesn't. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, here's my guy, Jalen Brunson, who just got blocked, but that's fine. Yeah, who's the next free agent we could talk about?
And league sources have informed me too. Cavaliers and Lakers are believed to be the front runners for LeBron James.
Cavaliers and Lakers.
Cavaliers is it?
Do you want to talk about Julius Randle?
Julius Randle, go ahead.
Alright, we'll pop out the whiteboard. Where do we think that Julius Randle is going to go?
They said it was a crazy last minute. They were intending on getting Da Vinci, but got the trade call from Philly, and they wanted to make that trade with Philadelphia.
I mean, that makes sense, considering what they're getting in Bridges.
All right, Julius Randle. I will go first.
All right.
Julius Randle. I will not go first. I have not write it down. You can go first.
Okay. I think that he's going to go one of two places. I think this is a broad prediction, but I think he's either going to the Pacers or the Suns. Because I don't think that Julius Randle is quite there to be a star player, but he can be a key piece of a team. If he goes to the Pacers, he's within a young core of Oladipo, Randle, and Turner. That's a defensive monster of a team. And then if he goes to the Suns, you have Booker, Randle, Jackson, and DeAndre Ayton. That's terrifying. You're right? Like, the Suns just went from being the 15th seed in the West to being a playoff team. Right? In one offseason. That's insane.
Yeah. And this is all contingent on LeBron and his decision, but I think if the Lakers strike out, their first priority needs to be re-signing Randle. And I think he'll agree to that
The
deal.
one issue with that, I have the Lakers and Hawks on this one. I'll give the Lakers first because he's talking about it. LeBron's gonna wait. He did the other time. He to July 11th waiting for his decision. And the Lakers, if I was for example, if I'm the Hawks, I'm taking advantage of that. I'm gonna give him an offer sheet the first day, and I gave him, hey, you gotta sign this, or you lost him for nothing. So I have the Hawks getting him because they're rebuilding, and John Collins, Julius Randle front court would be pretty deadly in my opinion. And I think Julius Randle would fit absolutely terrific there. And we're gonna go on to another person by the name. And since I'm myself a fan, I gotta do this. Avery Bradley. He was a great player, got traded, was a little bad, got hurt, and then just fell off. And I'm gonna go first real quick, because I gotta go look at my phone real quick. I have him going to the Thunder on not a minimum, but on the mid-level exception, for the fact the Thunder need a shooting guard who can shoot. They have Robertson, but he can't shoot, and he can defend really well. They could have they could run a lineup next year, because I'm assuming Melo opts in. It'd be pretty dumb if he didn't. Westbrook, Bradley, Roberson, Melo, and Adams. Now people would say, "Oh my God, that's worse than this year," but Westbrook has shown he works better without stars. He had his best year as an NBA player when Kevin Durant was gone. They had Victor Oladipo as the second best player. So I have Avery Bradley going there as a very low risk, high reward.
I also picked OKC, and I don't think it's so much that he doesn't work well with stars. It's just that he needs a lot of spot-up shooters, and that's what Avery Bradley can bring.
Milwaukee Bucks have selected Dante DiVincenzo with the 17th pick in the NBA draft. So he still goes up high, and people, what I'm reading, they're very shocked. He's going a lot higher than people assumed he would. So it's a very interesting story.
I didn't think he was going to do that.
So I think Bradley will be a good fit. He's a 3-and-D guy. And the Thunder just need some shooting. Robertson's not.
Good defender, but
Yeah, he's not a spot-up shooter. He's not a very good fit.
I have.
it goes. But hold on, minus Melo, that's a scary team defensively. If Westbrook tries, he doesn't
Why
stat
would he do
pad,
that?
then Roberson and Bradley, they could lock up Clay and Steph.
And Durant, yeah.
Durant might be a little bit of an issue because he's a little taller, but that's still a good lineup.
So I have two teams again. I have the Spurs and the Pelicans. I feel like again Avery Bradley would work well under Popovich's defensive-minded system, and the Spurs actually wanted Avery Bradley at the trade deadline, but for whatever reason that trade didn't fall through. I think that this is the Spurs' chance to finally get him, especially if Danny Green opts out of his player option. And I also have the Pelicans. it's a now you have a team with Holiday, Bradley, Davis, and Cousins, right? Which is scary on its own. And maybe with Avery Bradley on the team, maybe this is enough to get Cousins back on the Pelicans. Maybe if he'll sign for cheap enough.
I also was considering the Spurs, and the only reason I have OKC ahead of him is that I personally believe that Danny Green will come back one way or another.
Yeah. I think just because he's being offered so much money.
In my opinion, this is the most interesting storyline, and I'll tell you this after this pick.
With the 17th pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Milwaukee Bucks select Dante DiVincenzo from Villanova University.
So DiVincenzo goes number 17. In my opinion, this is the most interesting storyline out of the offseason. Marcus Smart. Before I ask who, what is he looking at? He wants 12 to 14 million. Is he gonna get that?
I think he will if it's the Celtics giving him that money. I feel I'll write it down on this whiteboard. I feel like Marcus Smart goes back to the Celtics. And I brought it up before. I feel like Marcus Smart is I'm a guy who's only good under Brad Stevens' system. And I feel like GMs across the league are going to see that. And they're going to see, well, we have a combo guard, but he can't shoot, and he has a bad reputation among the league. I don't want that vibe in my system, so I'm not going to sign him. I feel like he's surefire going to get that 12 to 14 million from the Celtics.
I don't think the Celtics are going to be willing to pay him what he's asking for, and I think the LA Clippers will. The Clippers, it's not so obvious that they need a shooting guard, but there's I feel like it could work because Lou Williams, if you continue to have him as your sixth man, you could have Beverly and Smart as a really good defensive backcourt to start the game. And then Lou Williams could fill that traditional scorer off the bench role. So I think it's a good fit there, and for that reason they'll be willing to pay him a salary of 12 or 14 million that he's asking for.
I have him re-signing with Boston, but not on that salary. The one way I see him re-signing with Boston is on the qualifying offer, because no one's going to offer him a deal. The team I do see him going besides Boston is the Dallas Mavericks, because a report happened yesterday that the Mavericks were interested for the right price. So I can see them offering maybe 8 mil, and the Celtics would have a really tough decision if Smart's worth 8 mil to them, which I think he might resign. But I think if he doesn't resign, he's going to the Dallas Mavericks. And on the subject of former Celtics, he had a good year. Rajon Rondo. It's a very interesting one. Where's he going?
Well, and before we go into this, the Spurs are about to make their pick, and this could be another key thing on whether or not Kawhi Leonard stays, or who they sign in the offseason. Do they go for Aaron Holiday, who's still on the board? Do they go? There's a lot of ways that they could go with this. And
Personally, I think the issue is much more deep-rooted than anything the roster is going to change. But it will be interesting because, I mean, again, the Spurs are a team.
So we all know the reputation with drafts. They pick the person no one expected and do the next big thing.
Yeah, remember, Lonnie Walker is still on the board.
That's probably.
I have him going back to the Pelicans based on, he worked really well in that system. People thought, Holiday and Rondo, it's not going to work. They both need the ball. Rondo gave Holiday a shot, so Holiday did better. Davis was better, and Boogie stays. That's scary. If he doesn't go, last year he was linked to the Lakers, and this year there was a report out that Lonzo could be traded to clear cap along with Luol Deng to the Suns. So if that happens, they need a point guard, and Rondo would probably work really well with LeBron James, in my opinion.
So, Rondo's a really smart guy, but he's always kind of been considered a poison in locker rooms. Not always, but a few places. But he's garnered praise from the Pelicans. They feel like they like him as sort of a second coach on the floor. So I also have him to the Pelicans.
In the words from you, the Spurs are going to select Lonnie Walker IV with the 18th pick. You like that pick?
Yeah, I feel like Popovich is going to give the confidence that Walker needs. I feel like that's a good system for him to be under.
I always trust the Spurs when it comes to
So I don't
drafting.
question.
Yeah.
Same with
Yeah.
Boston. I don't question them. I always make getting out of them for not making a trade, but when they make the trade, it looks like they pay too much, and then it's just the right amount. Where's Rondo going?
Back to the Pelicans. There's Alvin Gentry has said that Rajon Rondo was the key to the Pelicans' chemistry. They were smart to sign him in the offseason. I feel like they'd be smart again if they re-sign him this year.
All right. Your favorite team?
My favorite team,
Favorite
the
team.
Chicago Bulls.
Favorite team.
The Los Angeles Lakers.
Who on your favorite team is going to be traded? Most likely to be traded.
I have Robin Lopez, especially because we just picked up Wendell Carter Jr. I feel like Robin Lopez is now an underpaid backup or an overpaid backup center, excuse me, and there's just no spot for him on the roster.
This might be wishful thinking, but I'm going with Luol Deng. I personally don't think the Lakers make any offseason trades, but if they do, it has to involve Deng.
So if they want
For
to
me.
run, Deng has to go.
That's one of the worst contracts in the league right now. If you're giving up, and probably if they make a deal, they will be, any of your core, your young core, you gotta throw in Dame. I mean, we need, because I'm not huge on them giving up their core, even for Kawhi Leonard. So if they do make a deal, for me, it has to involve Luol Deng.
I have Terry Rozier for the fact this is his highest. For all we know, I will tell you after this pick.
With the 18th pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Lonnie Walker IV
Lonnie
from
Walker
the
IV
University
for
of Miami.
Spurs. What was I saying? No, Rozier. This is the highest. For what we know, this is as high as he could be. He proved he could be a great playoff scorer. He could be a good starter. Hell, he could probably even be an all-star. So I think Ainge cap, because especially if they have to re-sign him next summer, he might ask for a lot of money. And the Celtics do not have a lot of money to spend. So I think he might go. If we do trade for Kawhi, I see him and maybe Jaylen Brown part of the big package to go to San Antonio. So we did a multiple of them. Let's try to do award predictions for next year.
Okay.
Who do you think is going to be MVP? I'll go first real quick. I have Anthony Davis. I don't know what I said earlier about Cousins, but I think Cousins gone. And I think Davis is going to get some good talent around him to the fact that they'll be a good playoff team. And then he'll be considered, I think he'll put up around 31 and 13 next year. And he will be the MVP of the NBA.
I'm going with Giannis. I thought this year was going to be his year. He started off really hot and then cooled down, but if he can just work on his jump shot, he's got all the tools to be an MVP next year, and I think that's what he's going to do.
Similar to Daniel, I have Anthony Davis as well. I feel like if the Pelicans can make the right moves this offseason to get the Pelicans to a higher seed in the playoffs, and Anthony Davis can finally be recognized as the best power forward in the league, I feel like he could win MVP.
Most improved player, I have Jamal Murray of the Denver Nuggets. He doesn't suck, but I think he can improve tremendously. He's developed amazingly these past couple of years, and I think he could be pretty close to a 20-point per game scorer next year.
Speaking of the Nuggets, I have Will Barton.
Interesting.
Free agent.
Yeah, I think he'll resign.
We'll get to that.
I think he's shown flashes of being a great scorer this year, And
Kevin Huerter will go to the Hawks with the 19th pick.
That's a solid pickup.
I think if he can get consistent, he'll be a great scorer in this league, maybe 20 a game.
I have most improved. I have Tyreek Evans. I feel like he should be a candidate for it this year if Oladipo wasn't so amazing. A lot of people forget that he won Rookie of the Year and he had an amazing rookie season, and then the Kings ruined him. Right? The Kings absolutely ruined him. They went, oh, you know this guy who's a point guard? No, he's not a point guard. We'll make him a small
I
forward.
don't think that's what they're doing.
I think that's what went.
He got hurt. He got really, really bad.
And along with the Kings organization, I think that both of those things kind of shut him down for a couple of years. But now he's on the Grizzlies, and I feel like next year he can improve on the numbers that he put on this year, and I feel like he could be a candidate.
Coach of the Year, I have my boy, Igor. I see the Suns finishing the 6th seed. That's all I gotta say. And it's gonna be all because of him.
I have Greg Popovich. I think that Kawhi Leonard gets moved, and then he gets an opportunity to show what he can do with any group of guys. I mean, how many times have we said the Spurs are going to fall out of the playoff picture, and then they're right back there? This would be the ultimate form if he's able to do that. And also, it's coming to the end. It's out that he's probably going to retire after the next Olympics. So I think he'll start garnering a little bit more respect around the league, and if he's able to transform his guys into a playoff team, then he'd win Coach of the Year.
I have a lot of faith in Mike Budenholzer with the Milwaukee Bucks. I feel like he has a bad reputation around his name, and that he has something to prove coming to Milwaukee with the stars that they have there, and that he'll win Coach of the Year.
Just a little another public service announcement for those. How many are watching?
Like 4 people. 4 people.
I don't know how many people are watching. If you didn't hear though, you guys can ask us any questions in the comments. Leave any comments you want. Donations are in the link. It's not a link. It's a little thing down below. Venmo, Jaden Romo 68. You can Venmo me and be much appreciated. Rookie of the Year.
Right, Ashley's here.
Oh God.
Rookie of the Year.
I have DeAndre Ayton. I think he's going to strive tremendously with the Booker pick and roll. It's like you either gotta go to Booker or you gotta go to Ayton. If you go to Booker, Booker's gonna throw it up and you're right there. But it also depends on which point guard the Suns get. Because if it's Silver.
Player of the night, the second first-round pick.
With the 19th pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Atlanta Hawks select Kevin Huerter from the University of Maryland.
That's what I said. Minnesota Timberwolves on the top right now. Like we said, not really focus on these. These guys could be good in the future, but we prepared for the lottery, and that's really all people watch nowadays. So this is here. I have Aiden.
I have Luka Doncic. I think he's the most ready to step in and make an impact right away. Considering he won MVP of EuroLeague, he's just done the most already, so there's no reason to believe he can't continue that with the Mavericks.
I think it's either going to be DeAndre Ayton or Mo Bamba. I feel like if Mo Bamba can improve offensively and become an actually NBA ready player like now, I feel like he could be a contender with DeAndre Ayton for Rookie of the Year.
And the one question people have for Mo Bamba is, he's improved his jump shot, but will it be good enough for the NBA? Defense Player of the Year? I'm going to go with a little easy one here. I'm going to go with Draymond Green. He's the heart and soul of the Warriors defense, and as you know, they're the most dominant team in the league, and that's something to say. Leonard is, I would pick him, but he's a question mark. Where he plays, it depends on it. If he's going to be like a 4-year-old like he is now, like, I don't want to play for you guys, and he's not going to give his full effort, or he's going to say he's hurt, then I think that's his only real competition. I think it's Draymond or Kawhi.
I'm going with what is a repeat for me with Gobert. I just think he'll continue to be a dominant presence inside and reign for one more year.
I have Giannis. I realize that I have the Bucks on here a lot, but I feel like they can be an actual force in this upcoming year.
Here's a little fun topic. It's like a 97% chance it doesn't happen, but let's say John Wall gets traded. Where would he go?
First of all, I want to preface this by saying that we've talked about Luol Deng's contract and Chandler Parsons' contract, but John Wall also has a disgusting contract. In his final year, he's being paid $43 million in 1 year. It's disgusting, and I don't think that any team wants to pick that up. And he'll be 32 years old. That being said, he would have to go to a win now team. Maybe with the loss of Lowry with the Raptors, maybe it's possible that that Wall signs there. Maybe it's possible that just any team that needs a solid point guard, like a high energy point guard.
Like both of you said, I don't think he's going anywhere, but I know I've mentioned them a lot, but they did say they want to get a star, and that's Sacramento. So that could be an option.
That could be interesting.
And he's not too old. He's still pretty young. So it's not. I don't think he has to go to a contender yet. And also Dallas, if they want to maybe move Dennis Smith, maybe the Wizards want to get a more exciting young prospect, maybe.
I have John Wall going to the Phoenix Suns. I think they can make a package around Josh Jackson or Mikal Bridges, their own pick next year, and maybe something like that. I can see him work on the Suns terrifically. It's a freaking Wall Booker backcourt with whatchamacallit up front. It's a crazy thought. Bradley Beal.
You 6-man for next
No.
year? Alright.
Bradley Beal. That's a more realistic trade person. Where would he go?
I don't know where he would go, but I feel like it's possible that he could leave if LeBron stays in the East, and the Wizards realize that they need an upgrade. They realize that Beal's not working out. He's been an all-star snub for how many years? Maybe it's time that we finally upgrade or find a younger prospect somewhere.
I personally think that the Wizards would be better off building around Beal than Wall, but I've heard the Clippers they want. I'm not sure how much they would be able to give that would interest Washington, but he would definitely fill a role.
20th pick in the NBA draft, Josh Okogie.
Still not Aaron Holiday. That's surprising to me. I thought that would have been a good pick.
I'm on the same board as him. I have Beal going to the Clippers if he does get traded. That he's been linked to them before, but at the same time, I don't see what he could possibly give up.
Right.
I don't know what they have that's oh my god, Tobias Harris, but they already have an overpaid small forward in Otto Porter. And it's an interesting thing. We've done almost 2 offers. Who have we not done?
We've missed out on some free agents.
No, I know. I'm just trying to do the first couple pictures. All right, we're going back. Here's a little interesting one. There's not really an easy answer. Derrick Rose. I'll go first. I have him going to the Bucks. I could be very wrong about this, but I know the Bucks have had links to him, and the Bucks really need a backup point guard. Dellavedova, they're trying to unload with his terrible contract. I think Derrick Rose can try to prove himself in Milwaukee.
That makes a lot of sense now that I think about it. But I'm going with Minnesota, that he resigns there. He was a surprisingly good fit, I think. A lot of people didn't expect much of him. They were kind of critical of the Wolves when they made that move. But, I mean, as a bench scorer, not asked to do too much, I think he was really good for them.
Hold on. I want to give a shout out to Exploding Pedal. He commented cool live stream, and he gave me a $5 donation. Thank you very much. That's very appreciated. If you have any questions you want to ask us, go ahead and ask us. We'll be more than willing to answer. But thank you so much for the donation. And hold on, Minnesota Timberwolves are making their pick.
We have another trade to announce. The Philadelphia 76ers trade the draft rights to Mikal Bridges, the 10th pick, to the Phoenix Suns for the draft rights to Zaire Smith, the 16th pick, and a future first-round pick. And with the 20th pick in the 2018 NBA draft, the Minnesota Timberwolves select Josh Okogie from Georgia
That's
Tech.
close enough.
Okogie.
So the Utah Jazz are on the board with the 21st overall pick. Who do you have Dirk going back to?
I have him going back to the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves have said that they flirted with the idea, at least in this offseason, of trading. They'd rather trade Tyus Jones and their 20th pick rather than give up Derrick Rose. And if Rose stays, I feel like he has the work ethic and the drive to play with a chip on his shoulder and be a candidate for Sixth Man of the Year.
JJ Redick.
Oh, this is an easy one too. This is very exciting.
I'm gonna be pretty easy right now with this. I think he's going back to the Sixers. He strived tremendously in that system. He got paid $23 million. I don't think any team is going to pay him $23 million. They don't really have the cap space. Maybe like a terrible team, but I don't think he's willing to do that at this point in his career. I have him go back to Philly, and that's a no-brainer in my mind.
Yeah, same page. They need his shooting. What with Simmons
Oh
as their
my
point guard.
gosh. The number 21 pick from the Utah Jazz is Grayson Allen.
Oh.
That's nice.
Wow. So Boston fans who hate Grayson Allen, you're not getting him.
You know, hey, I don't know if you noticed, but Aaron Holiday is still on the board. Just, if you want him, we wouldn't mind him.
So,
As a Jazz fan, that makes me a little bit
hate to
sad.
interrupt you, but do you think Allen's going to be a good NBA player?
Dude, if he can act like an adult and not trick people, I feel like it's possible that he could be a solid role player.
Yeah, I don't see him being much more than a role player.
All right, go back to where you were.
I was pretty much done. Philadelphia, going back to Sixers for JJ Redick.
I feel like if the Spurs can't pick up on a solid shooting guard, I feel like Avery Bradley, I feel like they could go after JJ Redick, but at the end of the day, Redick has to understand that he is the best fit for Philadelphia right now. It'll be interesting to see where Zaire Smith fits into the lineup, but I think Redick did amazing this season. There's no reason for him to leave. Why should he?
Now let's go into. Oh, you want to go? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think Smith could play the three off the bench. Frank Covington, I think
That's possible.
that could work. He's a good enough athlete. to
All
guard.
right, let's go to a little difficult topic because you never know. Who's the most likely restricted free agent to leave? For those who know, you guys can write your answers down. For those who don't know, restricted free agents, there's restricted, unrestricted. Unrestricted are ones that don't have the teams cannot match their offer. Restricted are the ones like, let's say Marcus Smart gets paid $20 million by the Warriors or something. The Celtics have a 48-hour period to match that offer sheet or let him walk for nothing. Or they could do a sign and trade in that situation. So that's what a restricted free agent is. So it's kind of hard. Very rarely you see one leave, like a really good one. So this is why the question is, who's the most likely restricted free agent to leave? Holden, what's your answer?
Oh!
I'll go first then.
Oh, no, I have it. It's Avery Bradley for me.
He's not a restricted free agent.
Just kidding. I have another answer.
Go ahead.
My one is Jabari Parker. It's been said that the Bucks have sort of gave up on him. They don't think they don't trust his health anymore. And I think there is a team out there that we'll get into that later if who they're going to sign. You don't have to say that right now. I think there's a team out there that's going to be willing to pay him, and they could see it. He was the number 2 overall pick, so they could see the potential he has.
I agree with you that Parker will leave. I have Marcus Smart, actually. I just don't think the Celtics want to pay him what he thinks he's worth, and it's that simple. Like I said, I have him going to the Clippers. He's... I think teams will find value in him.
Hold on, check the
He's a great defender, and he's a good hustle guy. So I think the market will be bigger than some expect for Smart.
The Jazz are making a selection right now.
The Utah Jazz select Grayson Allen from Duke University.
You hear the boos in the background.
Yeah.
Shocking pick, and the Chicago Bulls are on the clock with the 22nd overall. Go on the street.
Back to restricted free agents. I'll try this again. Part 2. Julius Randle. I think could be the next option, or the most likely restricted free agent to leave, especially if the Lakers are serious about signing LeBron.
All right. So while we're on the topic of that, some of these could be really easy. Some of these could be a little difficult for you. Restricted free agents. Let's go first with. Who do I got first on my list? We got Julius Randle. We talked about him, didn't we?
Yeah,
Yeah, we
already
did. We did.
discussed Randall.
This is an interesting one. Aaron Gordon. Now, I'm going to give you my prediction and who I think if they don't resign. I think they'll match any offer, but if they don't, I can easily see him going to the Pacers. For the fact he fits that system so perfectly. Thaddeus Young declined his player option. He doesn't want to play there anymore. And, with Collison, Oladipo, Bogdanovich, Aaron Gordon, and Miles Turner, that can easily be maybe not a contender, but it could make you to this conference semifinals at the very least.
Surprise! It's the exact same thing. Orlando, and if they don't match, then Indiana. I think the Pacers will want to get more athletic up front, and maybe lessen the role of Thaddeus Young, and then there's no reason Orlando shouldn't want him back. He's improved. So.
With the 22nd pick in the NBA draft, the Chicago Bulls are picking Chandler Hutchinson.
That's a solid pickup. I like that pick. And I have him going back to the Magic. I feel like the Magic are the only people stupid enough to give Aaron Gordon a max contract.
Max.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's interesting.
And because Aaron Gordon has said that he wants a max contract. Yeah.
Jabari Parker.
I swear, if we get the same thing here.
Okay, there we go. I have Jabari Parker. Okay, you go first, actually.
Okay, I have him going to the Utah Jazz.
That's interesting.
If you look at the Jazz front court, they've got Favors and Gobert, which neither of them can really stretch the floor,
Mhm.
which is really a problem in the modern NBA. So I think they'll want to get a little bit smaller at the 4 position and go with Jabari Parker. And it's not like he's just a stretch 4. He's an athletic guy, young guy that they'd be willing to take a chance on.
I have him going to the Bulls. I think I'm marking in at 5 and even a Parker at the 3. I think like a little Dunn if they re-sign Levine. Parker, what's his face? Markkanen and Lopez. That's a pretty scary lineup. No, actually, if Lopez goes, Markkanen, Wendell Carter Jr. That's a very good young lineup. That could be in contention for the 8th seed in the weak Eastern Conference.
I think Daniel just copied off of Ben and I because I have him going to the Bulls as well. For the same reasons. I feel like he can stretch the floor. Like I said, we could with Wendell Carter Jr. It's just it's another it's another layer of depth to a lineup.
Another Celtic. I'm obligated to do this as Boston C17 on Instagram. Aaron Baines. Now, I got two very, very interesting ones that I really think is going to happen. I got the Warriors and Rockets. Mainly the Warriors, my first one, as the Bulls are getting a pick now.
Select Chandler Hutchison from Boise State University.
Hutchison goes number 22. Indiana Pacers, number 23. The Celtics are just 4 picks away for those who are Celtic fans watching the stream. Pacers are going to pick Aaron Holiday with the 23rd pick. Like it?
But I'm sorry, who has the 23rd pick?
The Pacers.
Aaron Holiday. I love that pick.
Yeah.
I love it. I feel like Aaron Holiday's playstyle will go perfectly with Oladipo's, and that's going to work really nicely.
I got the Warriors and the Rockets. Warriors, they need a center. I think they finally gave up on Zaza Pachulia. They finally did play a thing at the end. I think Baines is that center that won't ask for a lot of money. He's not afraid to get posterized. Trust me. He'll stand there. He won't back down from a single person. I think Baines is the perfect fit for the Warriors.
I have him going back to Boston. I think he fills a role there. He's mobile for a center, but besides that, there's not a lot to be enticing to free agents. I think to other teams. I think he fills his role perfectly. So I see him re-signing with the Celtics.
I also see him re-signing with the Celtics. I feel like Greg Monroe is gone for the Celtics, and that means that Aaron Baines has a chance to be like more than just the guy who gets posterized on every possession. He has a chance to fill up a higher bench role, and I feel like the Celtics liked him this reason. They have no reason to let him go. Why wouldn't they give him a contract?
We have some news.
No news.
The Celtics could be getting a very good pick. And the Blazers are going to select Anthony Simons.
Anthony Simmons.
That's Simons. Simmons is 2 X. French guard.
Well, it's probably Anthony Seymour.
Oh, yeah, true. Don't know who the hell that is. Maybe it's a good pick. Maybe it's not. We've done a lot. Tyreek Evans. I got a big one here. Owen's gonna roll his eyes. I'm going to Boston. He was a target from them, but they were very reluctant to give up a first-round pick for him. I think he tries to show teams that he can work good on a winning team instead of like playing scrub minutes on a scrub team. So I think he goes to Boston to ring chase, maybe on the middle of the section.
I don't have so much problem with that. I'm just not sure how many minutes he'd get. I have him going to Denver or Portland. I think both of them are just one more piece away from competing at a higher level, and I think Evans could fill the need on either of those teams for an attacking wing.
I have him either going to the Bulls or the Grizzlies. There's no reports of him going to the Bulls, but we're in desperate need of a starting small forward. No offense to Denzel Valentine, but he's quickly turning out to be the bust of his draft class, and I feel like Tyreek Evans is a good candidate to fill that starting small forward spot, especially if we can't get Jabari Parker, or if the Bulls front office is worried about Jabari Parker's injuries. I also feel like the Grizzlies did really good with him. The with the solid player that he's become, that's all due to the Grizzlies, and the Grizzlies probably realize that, and he'll probably stay.
Here's a fun one for me. I'm a Celtics fan. I believe this happened. Nerlens Noel. I just gave away my answer. I think the Celtics are getting him because he's not going to get a big market at all because he's proven that he could be a bust because of the way he acts off the court. He didn't like to be on the Mavericks. He took a gamble on himself. They gave him like $12 million a year last year, and he's like, you know what? I'm more than that. And he got settled for the minimum, so he's back into the free agency. So I think the Celtics pick him up on the minimum. They need a backup. If this is in case Dwight Howard doesn't go, which we will talk about actually next about Dwight Howard. So I think Nerlens Noel goes there, but if he doesn't and Dwight Howard does go to Boston, I think he goes to the Rockets because they need that kind of kind of team that it's a hardened pick and roll. Whether happens is he drives or he gets an alley oop. You see how it is Capella. I think if they strike on Capella, they go Noel instantly.
John Wall said that his team needs to get more athletic at center. I have Noel going to the Wizards.
That's very likely.
He'll come cheap, not a huge risk. We'll see that, well, there was the beef between Gortat and Wall, so we'll see how that plays out. It could end up that Wall is traded, but I think that Washington is the best destination. Another place I see is the Warriors, because there's a possibility that they're going to be pretty thin at center this year, and Noel fits the bill of just an athletic center that can give them a couple of high-energy minutes and can be motivated by winning, basically.
I have him going to either the Hawks or the Warriors, and it depends on the mindset of Nerlens Noel. If Nerlens Noel is hell-bent on being a star in this league, then I think he'll go to the Hawks and he'll try to make a name for himself. If he wants to win a championship, then I'll sign with the Warriors for a cheap price. It also depends on money. He can get way more money if he goes to the Hawks.
The biggest news in the NBA recently is Dwight Howard being traded from the Hornets to the Nets. Coincidentally, a year after he was traded from the Hawks to the Hornets. News came out later today he's going to be bought out. We'll get to who's going to get him after that. Initial reactions when you first heard about the trade?
It makes you think back on how much Dwight Howard's value has dropped over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like he's completely fallen off the cliff. He's still putting up decent
Still putting
numbers.
16 and 12, and yet
They
trade him for Timothy Mozgov and 2 picks, and I think just a second round.
I feel like the Hornets messed up.
They're cheap. That's a great way to describe it. Adam Silver, 23rd pick, first round.
With the 23rd pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Indiana Pacers select Aaron Holiday from UCLA.
Aaron Holiday is selected by the Indiana Pacers.
I like that pick. I would have loved to see him go to the Jazz, but
I'm gonna say a little something real quick. I'm a little disappointed. This draft got a lot of hype. I thought that a lot bigger trades would come down. We got Doncic for Trae Young, not that big. No stars got traded, and I'm a little bit upset about that. I thought a star would be traded for sure. Yeah, I'm just a little disappointed. I'm just disappointed in how this draft is going so far.
We could still see something, but yeah.
It's more likely not going to happen. But also in their defense, though, the draft has been very unpredictable, which has made this a little bit fun to watch.
right, look how far Michael Porter dropped.
It's,
You know, there's something to be said about that.
again, for the 16th time, we're almost running out of ideas. So if you guys have any questions, any things you want us to think about, comment down below. We will do just that. If you want to donate, like my boy,
Explosive pedals.
Explosive Pedals, which is very much appreciated. You guys can go ahead and do that. Venmo, Dinner Room 68. It's been awesome so far tonight being with you guys.
I think we should probably just go to the end of the first round.
Yeah, we don't have that much to talk about.
Yeah.
NBA players with better sophomore year. You just say it.
And by this, do you mean an NBA rookie this season who's going to do better next season?
I have Dennis Smith Jr. I think he makes the leap into not an all-star, but a guy who's going to be an all-star in 2 years. He's going to, I'm not saying he's going to put up crazy numbers, but he's going to make people think, wow, the Knicks passed up on him for Frank Ntilikina. They're dumb. So I think Dennis Smith Jr. will have the better sophomore year.
I have De'Aaron Fox. I don't think he showed his full potential the first year. And he's going to have,
Hold on a second. I want to say thank you to Asher Mai, who donated $5. He said, good job, you guys. Very much appreciated. Thank you so much, Asher. Thank you for watching. Continue.
What was I saying? De'Aaron Fox. Yeah, I think he'll have a better sophomore year. He's gonna be either Bagley or another star that he could work with. I think he'll work well with Bagley. Give him someone to take the pressure off. A front court guy, and I
think that's very underrated in Bagley and Fox.
Mhm.
I think that could be a very, very, very deadly combo.
I have a lot of people I want to talk about. Daniel took Dennis Smith Jr., but I'll bring up Markelle Fultz. I feel like anything that Markelle Fultz puts up this season is better than what he did in his rookie season. To be fair, that's kind of the easy
All
way
you
out.
gotta do is play more than 12 games.
He'll be fine. Josh Jackson, if the Suns can sign a free agent, and if Josh Jackson can work with DeAndre Ayton, that's going to be a deadly defensive combo. And then if the Lakers can get LeBron James, a lot of people forget what's going to happen to Lonzo Ball. Is his numbers going to go up? I feel like he's going to get more assist numbers. He's going to have more like solid people to pass the ball
That's
to.
arguable. I think if LeBron goes there, I think he's gonna want the ball.
Mhm.
I think he will. Like he has Paul George. If Paul George goes, that's a very good spot up shooter. I just think Lonzo's gone. If LeBron's there, Lonzo's gone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
I don't think LeBron wants to deal with LeVar. And I know it sounds stupid, like we said that last year. It's like, funny. It's an actual issue. The Spurs won't trade for Lonzo because they don't want LeVar in their organization. He's a big issue, and Lonzo's got to pick between him or his basketball career.
It's funny for us, but these guys actually have to deal with LeVar.
He's
So-
an annoying human being.
Yeah.
Yep, Anthony Simmons is officially going to the Blazers. Lakers are next on the clock after they announce this. You expecting anything? They said Robert Williams was supposed to be a lottery pick this year, and he still isn't that pick. I had him as a lottery pick.
Well,
That's another thing that I wanted to bring up. Originally, I had Robert Williams going to the Clippers.
He's going to 25.
Yeah,
That could be huge.
yeah, I would definitely say Robert Williams.
There's some
the
good
best
players
of
still
it.
on the board.
Yeah.
Gary Trent Jr., he's very underrated. Bruce Brown, I heard he's extremely underrated. He's actually really good.
Kyrie Thomas hasn't been picked yet, which is a little bit surprising to me.
Yeah.
This is why I watch this. The NBA draft isn't like, oh, number one pick, I'll get better. Yes, of course, in the number one pick, you have more freedom to pick. There's good players later on. Like, there's still a lot of good players left. Sure, maybe they're just good at college players, but they're good players in general.
Mhm. Is there any more free agents we can talk about?
There are, but I don't really want to talk about some of them. We have about 6 picks left with you guys. If you guys have any questions, it'd be very, 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 very much appreciated. Let's go. I was going to save this for last, but we don't have a lot to do. The crazy prediction for the offseason. I'm going to go first real quick. Anthony Davis to the Boston Celtics.
He's been saying this for like the past 3 years.
Because it's been reported. I have them trading Horford, Jalen, and Terry Rozier, and a lot of picks. And the reason I do this is because they'll have a thing of Kyrie, say Hayward, Tatum, Davis, and they could, if they sign Howard on a cheap deal, they have Howard. Which people can argue, is that a better team? Is it not? Davis makes you a better team. A Kyrie Davis little duo with a Tatum and a Hayward and a Howard. Howard's a little bit debatable, like it's iffy, but if he's going for the minimum, I will take Howard. I know he's a locker room cancer and all. And my one crazy signing I have is LeBron to Boston, which I first saw, I was like, people were like, oh, LeBron Boston. I was like, ah. But then when ESPN Chris Haynes reported, I was like, oh, look at Adam Silver. So back
With the 24th pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Portland Trail Blazers select Anthony Simons from Altamont Springs, Florida.
Apology accepted.
Anthony Simons from IMG
Apology
Academy was
accepted.
going to Louisville before Rick Pitino left there.
I respect it. What was I saying?
Your LeBron to Boston.
See, when Chris Haynes reported, and he's like, at the very least, LeBron is going to get a meeting with them. That raised my things of like, okay, this could be a possibility. Because Kyrie was asked about it. He's like, whatever management decides. Because it also means another thing. He's a free agent after this year. It could mean if they get him, he's like, you know what? You chose him over LeBron. You chose LeBron over me. I see how it is. I'm going to go to New York. Because I think if he leaves Boston, he'll go to New York. So, yeah, I can see it happening, but they'd have to trade Hayward or Horford, and I don't think they'll be down to do that.
Mine is 3 or more lottery picks will be traded before the start of the season. Just because it didn't happen
I
tonight
said that it could still very well happen.
doesn't mean that the offseason isn't going to be crazy interesting.
I think there already was 3 lottery picks traded.
Well, I mean, post-draft.
Post-draft.
3 post-draft lottery picks. We're still, there's a lot of teams that want to make moves here.
And I mean, like last year, Kyrie Irving came out of nowhere. No one knew Kyrie was going to get traded. Let's say John Wall. He can be, his name could get thrown up. Like you said, maybe like the Clippers like, oh, we got this Alexander guy. Take him and we'll give you a couple things. That like these random names could just. We're in an NBA now where you can say you're unhappy, you can go. Like normally it's just like suck it up, whatever.
Went offline.
I think die.
I don't know.
Oh, we did.
Oh,
Wait.
okay, we're good.
Yep.
Okay. Like Giannis could just easily say, I'm done. You guys aren't winning with me. I don't want to play with you guys anymore. And it's just crazy. So I think a lottery picks, like Andrew Wiggins, he got traded. And I think it's very well in the picture that 3 lottery picks could be traded.
And one more thing, it's kind of broad, but it sort of fuels all these trades that are happening. We kind of got the sense before that a lot of teams were just waiting out the Warriors dynasty, but now there's a sense that Green and Thompson might take less to stay on the team, and honestly, it doesn't look like they're going anywhere anytime soon. So teams just have to get better, and they're scrambling to do it. So we're going to see a lot of action this offseason.
My crazy offseason prediction. I've already said this. It's Kawhi Leonard to the Sixers. It would involve Markelle Fultz, Dario Saric, and a bunch of first round picks. But I feel like it's legitimate. It could happen. You get a defensive star on the Sixers, which they wouldn't refuse, right? And the Spurs get Markelle Fultz, which I think they can work with and make a solid player out of.
And I understand that it's a crazy prediction, but I just don't see them selling their future for a 1-year rental because they have such a bright future.
That's an argument with all of them. So they say it's really hard to find a trade because you don't know what they're going to. And this is probably the Lakers pick right here. The Lakers are going to draft Mo Wagner at the University of Michigan.
I like him.
Pissed off about that because I wanted the Celtics to draft him.
I thought he was going to dip a little further too, but yeah, solid pickup. He was originally one of my sleepers of the draft.
I think he could be one of the best centers in this draft.
We've drafted really well lately, so I'm confident.
Well, and back to Kawhi Leonard. He's said that in 2019 he is signing with the Spurs, or not with the Lakers. Excuse me. He is signing with the Lakers. So, and that further states the point that it's a 1-year rental. He needs to win a championship next year.
Let's think of this though. Same with Paul George. He told the Pacers, trade me to LA or don't. I'm going to sign up them next year. Thunder gave him a 1-year rental and a scanner.
Our perspective on that all depends on what he does.
And like if he re-signs with OKC, it's like it's worth the
gamble. That would be game changing in how a lot of these teams are going to look at that.
Maybe if he stays and sees, wow, this is such a great organization. I didn't know that. Maybe he's just like, okay, whatever, I'll stay. So I think, I wrote this down for Kawhi. I think he's a San Antonio Spur in 2020.
Who is?
It's Kawhi.
Kawhi?
In 2020.
I don't think he's gone.
Continually? Like
Yeah.
he'll be there next year too.
He'll be here nonstop. I see Popovich redoing this. He's gonna say, you know what, screw you, I'm not gonna trade you this year. You have to be an NBA player and go through with it. I just think it's what's gonna happen. We don't have a lot to talk about. We almost went through a lot. We're gonna end at the end of the first round. If there's any comments and questions, and Silver is gonna announce. No problem.
With the 25th pick in the 2018 NBA draft,
I can speak.
the Los Angeles Lakers select Moritz Wagner
Bro, you're blowing
from
it.
the University of Michigan.
But you're blowing it.
So you already see he wanted to go to Boston. Let's see what it is.
Took his team to the national championship game. The general manager of the Lakers is Rob Pelinka, now also a Michigan man. Coincidental, I'm sure. This guy plays with a ton of energy. Idolizes Dirk Nowitzki.
Alright. I have a new topic. Who's going to be the best player out of this draft when we look back in 20 years?
20 years.
I mean, the easy pick is DeAndre Ayton. Right, but I think
I say Mohamed Bamba.
I was gonna, yeah, I also.
I think he develops a shot. He's going to be once in a lifetime. You can't compare him to anybody. I think he'll be once in a lifetime player.
do you think injuries are gonna get to him?
I mean, that you can say that about anybody.
Well, but just because he's so freaking tall and massive, I feel like eventually his ankle's got to give way at some point,
Debatable.
right? I say, I like Mikal Bridges. I like who else do I like? I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I'm gonna say that Kevin Knox is gonna be a solid player 20 years from now. I feel like if he works on his defensive game, he's gonna be a solid player. Maybe not the best player out of the draft, but a solid player.
I have a question. Do you think the Nets made a mistake buying out Howard?
I think
I think Howard would make him close to a playoff spot.
Mm-hmm.
D'Angelo Russell is a very underrated passer, I think. I really think they screwed up.
The thing is, it's just they only have him for one more year, so why not just tag him along? If you're the Nets, you're shooting for next summer.
You said you dumped Mozgov. All you wanted to do.
Yeah.
What's the harm? You're not going to be the best team in the league next year. What's the harm in keeping him for one more year?
It tells you they think they have a shot this summer, I guess.
They must think someone's
mean-
going to do it.
All right, what do you say? Do we end it now? We've
No.
been at no.
I have to wait till the Celtics get drafted. That's the whole point. Is
Oh, right. We need the Celtics draft.
So the 76ers are on the clock. Holden, do you have a question?
Do I have a question?
If you're late to the stream, you could donate. Danny Romo, Venmo, Danny Romo 68. Those who donated, thank you very much. It's very much appreciated. If you guys have any questions you really want us to answer, we're more than happy to answer them. We still have a couple picks to go. So
I think an interesting question is, where do you think KCP is going to go? Because I think for sure he's not staying with the Lakers.
I'm going to the Warriors
Mm.
on a prove-it deal.
I'm pretty with you.
I think he wants the ring chase. I think he realized I'm not going to be a good player anymore. I want a ring before I retire.
I think he's going to the Knicks. I think they need defense on that team, especially in the backcourt. KCP can provide that. He'll probably ask for a lot of money. The Knicks are stupid enough to give it to him. I think it'll happen. I think he'll go to the Knicks.
He's still really young, so I'm actually going the complete opposite direction as you and saying the Hawks. I think he can get the most money there, and he's still really young and has a chance to develop. They've got a lot of cap
I
space.
have him also going for the Sixers. If the Sixers strike out on JJ Redick, finds a better offer. Here's an interesting one. Probably the question of the night. A lot of NBA fans out there are wondering. Is LiAngelo Ball drafted tonight?
You know,
Drafted? No.
you don't think he's drafted?
I think he gets drafted.
I think there's a chance he gets signed as an undrafted player, but I don't think he gets drafted. I'd love to see it. It would make for a great storyline.
It's hard for me to believe that right now that there are 31 players in the draft that are better than LiAngelo Ball.
But what's his upside?
What do you mean?
What's his ceiling? What's the best?
Well, see, he just becomes like a spot up shooter.
How would you react? How would you react if the Golden State Warriors took him at 28?
That's at 28. I feel
At
like
28?
I feel 28 is way too high. I feel like it's possible.
Because the Warriors are very, very, very interested.
The War.
I don't know if they have a second round pick.
No, they don't. I'm looking right now, and they don't.
They might buy one though.
76ers are going to draft Landry Shamet.
Shamet.
With the 26th pick.
That's my sleeper. It's Shamu.
Which, hopefully, this means the Celtics could get Robert Williams, which would be such a freaking steal, and I will actually scream.
Well, now he's not going to be a bust if he goes to the Celtics. It's ruined my whole thing. What the hell?
Is there any perceivable reason he's falling so low? I mean, I haven't heard anything to indicate that his stock is falling.
I think it's just, like I said it earlier, I think it's just the fact that he's just like a brick. He's just like a big guy. He's not extremely good at any one thing.
Just not a great fit for today's NBA.
I guess not.
Just
Just
pick
pick where
whoever
LeBron wants.
It's a poster in the audience of the draft. The picks, the Sixers are about to pick soon.
Mm-hmm. And they got
Clock is expired.
Zaire Smith.
If they had their teams right now, this very second, who's going to NBA Finals? 76ers or the Boston Celtics? I'm not going to answer because I'm biased, but what do you think?
Celtics.
Keep in mind the Celtics did beat them in 5 games without two of their All-Stars.
Yeah, the Celtics does seem like the better pick. It feels like the safer pick.
And
But-
this is a more interesting question. Let's do this. After, I'm so going to have to I hope the Celtics get Robert Williams.
With the 26th pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Philadelphia 76ers select Landry Shamet from Wichita State University.
Jesus, he's ugly.
Ugly human being. Sorry if you're watching this.
That's Trae Young ugly right there.
Alright. My new question. The Celtics are now on the clock. This is the moment we're here for. Let's say LeBron goes to the Rockets. Who do you got in a 7-game series? Rockets, Warriors.
Who's going to the Rockets?
LeBron.
Well, what does their roster look like though?
Let's
Around-
just say they're starting 5. It's battle between starting 5 of Paul, Harden, what's his face? LeBron, and that means Arisa's probably gone. So like LeBron, they can't trade Anderson and Capella if he resigns, and Curry, Thompson, Durant, Green, some center. Say Dwight Howard. Shut up. Yes!
Is it Robert Williams?
You're getting Robert Williams!
How did the Celtics
Let's go!
just get so lucky with this? I swear.
You should have taken Michael Porter Jr. Personally, in my opinion.
It makes great sense. I mean,
Yeah, of course it does. It's the
Center.
right pick. I'm just grading. I just hate the fucking Celtics. Like, why does it have to be the Celtics? Why, some other teams can have good executives too. You know, you can take Kyrie Thomas and have 2 Kyries on the team. That's allowed to happen.
Speaking of, I have Ainge winning Executive of the Year this year.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh my god, I'm so fucking. Yes! We're going to the championship. Robert Williams is here.
Robin Williams?
So to answer your question, I'd have the Warriors slightly in that series. The LeBron offense. I think they could take their game to another level.
I feel like offensively they're pretty matched, but I think defensively the Warriors just barely get the edge because they have Draymond Green. You know, and just because he is such a versatile player. And another thing that I want to mention is a lot of people think that the Magic like messed up with Jonathan Isaac, and I don't know if he'll stay with the Magic. I don't know if he'll thrive there, but I see him turning into a Draymond Green type player, just like a 7-foot Draymond Green, right? Not the star of a team, not a guy who's scoring all the points, but a guy who can get triple doubles, a guy who can score, pass, rebound, and defend. Just a do-it-all type of player. I see him turning into that.
See, the reason of stuff like this is I've just read on Twitter, like all this stuff. He was projected to be a lottery pick. And he's going 27 to the Celtics. And we didn't have to trade a single asset.
Who did Danny Ainge screw?
Danny Ainge, best executive in the league. Not even a question.
Okay, but to be fair,
This to stop bringing in behind Al Horford and
I don't think this is a case of Danny Ainge
Texas A&M's
being
Robert Williams almost came out after his freshman year last year and was projected at that time to be a top 7 or 8 player. Questions about his attitude, work ethic have knocked him almost out of the first round here, but he is high on the Celtics draft board, and if they select him here, he could be a steal of this first round.
Was no.
So Lawrence telling us what perhaps Boston is wanting to do is Mike Schmidt's joined us now. Mike, if it is Robert Williams or whenever Robert Williams is taken, what are teams getting?
Yeah, this is a total home run for the Celtics. 27th pick, another 27th pick, Clint Capella. I think there are some similarities with those two in terms of how they can function in the NBA. 6'10", 7'5" wingspan, can get up and down in transition when he's motivated. The best lob catcher in this draft, protects the rim, can switch on the perimeter. I think he's a little bit of a college casualty in terms of how they used him at Texas A&M. He played mostly the 4 next to an interior 5 and Tyler Davis. Was rolled only 9 times all season. The best lob catcher in this draft, rolled to the rim only 9 times. I think he's really going to pop playing the 5 in the NBA game. Perfect fit for the Celtics.
If that is indeed the path that Boston chooses to take, Texas A&M made a run to the Sweet 16. You saw some of the talent on display from the Aggies, but they were able to make a bit of a surprise run. So the Celtics, it could be.
It's also a little bit shocking that Keita Bates-Diop hasn't been chosen yet. Like, he's a solid small forward.
And a really key point by Mike Schmitz there, when he's motivated. And he's got to be motivated to play every night. If Boston does take him, you would think that Robert Williams would be motivated to fit into a team that's Eastern Conference Finals and has a chance to compete for an NBA championship when healthy. Because he is athletically, he's top 5 in this draft. There's no question about it. He reminds me a little bit of another Texas A&M guy. I mentioned it before, DeAndre Jordan.
Are you a Celtics fan? Are you Celtics also excited?
He can run the floor, he can block shots, protect the rim, and he can finish plays.
He does one thing that nobody on the Celtics can do.
What's
He's
this?
a long
Warriors
break,
pick
and
Kyrie
he
Thomas.
gets vertical really, really fast. So just
That'll be
imagine having
fucking insane.
Kyrie coming off a pick and roll or Gordon Hayward or
Or even Keita Bates-Diop. They have so many good players they can pick.
Has to stay home. I mean, it opens up a lot of different things on the floor. I think, like Mike Smith said, it's a home run play if you're the Boston Celtics.
This is one of the
Keita
deeper
Bates-Diop
drafts
of
we've
Ohio
seen
State,
in a
as
while.
you can see on this best available list, is probably the most versatile player that's left sort of in the next 5 on the best available list. Another guy, 7'3" wingspan, really good mid-range game, not a spectacular athlete. But I agree with Mike. Like, if you're looking to get a top 10 talent at 27. You know, Robert Williams, if you're willing to help him along and be demanding of him, and he's got to be accountable to be that motivated guy, you know, sort of when he's motivated thing. Like,
Give me a bust at 27.
But
He's got to motivate himself and bring it every day.
And like you said, come on now, we all trust Danny Ainge.
And Brad Stevens, for that
And
matter.
Coach Stevens to develop the talent that Danny brings in. I mean, every other team got to be scared right now when Danny Ainge is making a decision.
Celtics on the clock right now, and the pick is in. Here's Adam Silver.
With the 27th pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Boston Celtics select Robert Williams III.
Yeah! See, he knows.
Well, the mention that Jay and Chauncey were talking about is now
You're a true
on the
fan.
Celtics team. Robert Williams averaged 2.5
He's still wearing
points, plays
braids.
about 25 minutes per game. Here's a look at the Big Aggie, JB.
Robert Williams has a 7'6" wingspan, and he can really get off the ground. He is a powerful athlete with a great frame. He is explosive. He is a big-time shot blocker. He pursues the ball, going after it, not only to block shots, but rebounding. The one thing he lacks, he's not a very good offensive player. He's 2 of 30 from three-point range in his career. He only shoots 43%.
I mean, what he just said, Robert Williams isn't the best offensive player. Are the Celtics going to be okay with drafting another guy who's just defense? Because they have a lot of those on the roster already. With, I can't pronounce his name, but
Semi Ojeleye?
No, the other one. The one that, he's like Yogi the Bear or something.
Gershon Yabusele.
Yeah, that one.
He's not a just defense.
That's the way I kind of see him. Well, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know.
I mean, he's like like they said, he's like a Clint Capella. He can't do anything on offense, but he can catch a lob and he can block. That's all you need to do. That's all we're asking him to do.
How big of a role you see him getting?
Back up. I don't think Baines is back.
Like
Well,
10,
yeah,
10, 15 minutes?
Yeah, I take back my Aaron Baines prediction earlier. I feel like he's gone
I
now.
think this was a little, because they have Daniel Tice too, I think this was a little sea of Baines.
Yeah.
Or do you get rid of Tice? Do you trade him for someone?
No, there's no way in the hell. Jacob Evans is going number 28 to the Warriors.
They could have gotten Kyrie Thomas.
So, that's going to do it for us. Thank you for all who have watched. Thank you to the 2 that donated. It was a lot of fun. We enjoyed this. I might do a solo live stream the night before free agency. These guys don't know if we'll ever do a free live stream again. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. Depends how successful this one turns out to be. Leave a like on the stream if you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and go Celtics. You guys have anything to say?
No, thanks for those who
Thanks
watched.
for having me. And everyone watch.